Hey everybody, welcome. How's it going? Glad you can make it. We're improvising a little bit here because it's been a while since we've had a guest star, and it's awesome that we have a guest star today, which is, of course, the one and only the VisionEx. great to see everyone here in the chat. All of our regular homies hanging out, as well as some new friends, which is freaking fantastic. Love to see that. and yeah, as we could tell, the show's relatively quiet, more quiet today. It's just me kind of blaring in the mic today as usual, until we have our guest. And we're gonna go ahead and see if we can pump our guest feed in here after I get rid of my goofy promo. And so, and then hopefully, let's see, give it another test there, Joe. Could you say hi? I want to see, because I'm not sure if I saw your feed coming in right on OBS. That is. Okay. I'm pretty good. I'm just trying to get your feed actually out to everyone, so everyone, like, no one heard that except me. But the important thing, yeah, the important thing is that we know that. And I can fix that. I just have to get your sound to show up right. Give me a second, because I do have this set up here, and as we were just talking backstage, so everyone, bear with us here as I do this, because doing live stuff isn't always as easy as it sounds sometimes. So
whether it's your face, their face, a million faces, an avatar, a B-roll, whatever the thing is that comes in, you always want to do it as best as you possibly can. Not always possible to do. So it's noble to see you try to kind of get into this and do good stuff. Metacenter says, "What is Joe wearing?" I am wearing a T-shirt. For the first time ever on any kind of live stream, I'm wearing a T-shirt that says Captain America. Yeah,
damn right.
It's 3 in the freaking morning, and I'm surprised to still be wearing pants, to be honest with you at this time.
Well, as we know, in this day and age, it's not entirely required.
That's true. That's true.
And I think we should be actually hearing you now, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully that has been solved. And yeah, because I'm sure you're probably an OBS ninja too, to some degree, and yeah, you know how it goes kind of zany on you sometimes.
For sure.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm like, I was an OBS expert a couple of years back, and then I just dropped it for this software called VisionEx. VisionEx allows you to like pipe in other people's webcams so that you can just do exactly what you just did right there, where you made me green screen.
Yeah,
but it just like drops it entirely. So you can pop in 4 to, I guess 8 people can go into VisionEx at once. I usually don't do that many because it's a lot of work, but yeah, crazy.
Yeah. All right. Oh, and then I didn't even turn on my cam. That's freaking funny. Okay, hold on. Let's do that. Okay, yeah. See, I'm bigger today too. So, all right.
There we go. What's up?
Okay, and then I'm gonna have fun here because it looks kind of funny because we're both sort of like, how it goes with the orientation of like how your setup is too. I want to make it look like we're at least kind of looking at each other. You know what I'm saying? Sure. I'll move me over here.
I'm always totally straight, but if you want, I can look over here. At that, which is the Discord, or I can come over here. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, your setup is a little more robust than mine for sure, and so and my camera just moves just because of the nature of how I have it sitting on my desk. And
sure.
And so but either way, like I said, we're here to chat, we're here to have some fun here about talking about Sandbox stuff and just crypto in general too. I mean, I think it's fair game. And then too, I mean, you didn't just like magically fall into the Sandbox. You know what I mean? There was a story there that got you to where you're at, and I think that's what all of us love and appreciate to hear too, because we all come from such a diverse sort of angle of why we're in the Sandbox now. And
sure.
and I know that I can't be the only one who's a little curious about that, and like I said, feel free to to share what you want, or because I know that you've done a lot of quality assurance testing, and I've picked that up over
Mhm.
the years at this point, and then now too I'm hearing like this more about your gaming background, which maybe is kind of a fun part to just jump into, because I know you do a regular charity thing, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have let me think here. So if we go all the way back, I mean, I've mentioned it a whole bunch of times, but like QA is something that I've kind of done automatically, I guess, because when I was like 16, um, I think I don't know if it was just because of the time that it was, but Halo 2, maybe it was 16, maybe it was later. I don't know. I felt like I was younger, but it kind of gets blurry. Halo 2
Mm-hmm.
did its early beta playtest sort of thing, like way before it was a thing, I guess. And they were testing the sort of like akimbo SMGs in that period. And I went up to Redmond, which is about 2 hours away from where I am, to be able to play test for them. And then back then they only gave you like they didn't even pay you to really do those kinds of QAs. It was more like, do you want to come up here and we'll give you for each session you got to walk away with a copy of something that Microsoft made, right? So the first time I went up there, I was like, "Oh yeah, I need a copy of Windows, right? Like I need whatever that is because that's
Yeah,
$150 and I need one of those."
true,
So I got that
true.
on a disc, and then the next time I left there, I left with like a copy of Age of Empires 2, and I was like, "Why do I even need this? I already have a copy of one." Um, but you go through and you do this play tests, and back then, it was very quiet, very secretive sort of operation, so you can't really discuss like the things that happen. But it was like when you could poke a sniper rifle through a wall and suddenly you see the entire map, or that kind of stuff was the basis, and that kind of gave me a passion for the industry itself, and the idea of doing quality assurance. But I transitioned that pretty hard because I didn't really do too much in like the gaming industry from there for like probably 5 years or so.
Hmm.
At that point, I transitioned into basic like retail work, which I think a lot of people, they go through and they have
Hmm.
regular jobs and they do that sort of thing. Um, Went from retail to while I was in retail doing games journalism, and I actually still have a business card sitting here on my desk to kind of remind me the first time when I did it right. So I have this card here from
Nice.
PAX, the Penny Arcade Expo in 2014, when I had built this company named Power Leveled. So we did games journalism there, did pretty well. Got a good like million and a half people following on our like podcast, and had a good show there. Learned how to build a good show and have a good conversation with people. Essentially learned to ask more questions than I did leave statements about myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the flaw that I had at Power Leveled is that it was a company of probably like 10 people at the time doing journalism there, and the problem that I had was not realizing that you have to have what's called account executives in the industry, or like people who go out and say like, "Hey, we have this following,
Yeah.
pay me to get sponsored on there." Because you have a lot of people who want to be noble. They want to say like, I have a product and I'm making money off of like basic ads, but you're not really making enough money to make it a living.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
you kinda had to s I kinda had to slow down, back up, and reassess the situation, where I was, and it was probably, like, 2016 when I got into crypto, and from there, it was much, much easier to sell myself and kinda get into the industry from there.
Cool, cool. No, that is pretty interesting, and I mean, because how and it goes to show like a certain level of tenacity is required to advance, um, and like for me personally, I mean, this is a cool opportunity for me just to even say thank you, Joseph, because you actually did inspire me to go ahead and try for the Creator Fund. Um,
Mhm.
because it was now I'm getting into my third year now working in the Creator Fund, and it was back then when it was basically you and Alex doing the streams, And it was just something he said to the effect of like, hey, if you have any interest in creating, or if you, especially if you've had a background in doing art, just try for it, something like that. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I guess
Yeah.
I kind of do. So, and and yeah, and for me, like a lot of other people too, it started as like a hobby in a sense. It's like, yeah, even as like a hobby gig, kind of do that for some tokens, yeah, no problem. And but then it, like, how I saw it just kind of blow up so fast. And to me, Sandbox was one of those things where it was like the last straw for me in crypto, where I was like, dude, if you would have put in the 100 here or 1,000 there, you know what I mean? Like, what it
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
like now. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and so this
Yeah.
is
I mean,
I'll go for it.
yeah. I mean, you have an opportunity to kind of step up and step out, and that's something that you're doing now that I didn't do when I was like 25 or whatever, right? Which is just to sell yourself, to get out there and say, I
Mm-hmm.
can do this, I have done this. Like pay me to do that, right? And that's the creative fund is great because you can have an opportunity to do that with a company that's growing and looking for new talent. And
Yeah.
it's such an unsaturated market in terms of like people who can make and who can build. So it's great to see, people like you, Caratraz, in the chat saying like that you really just need to get up, and then they do get up and they go
Yeah.
and they get what they want to do. And as creatives, it's fun to see people, that they have that creative energy and they just take that one step, because I think it's a really big conflict. Like a creative doesn't usually step up. A creative doesn't usually
Yeah.
say I'm great. They usually say like I
That's true.
can
Yeah.
create, but then like if you're like me, you're a little bit unconfident in that way. You want to go like, I don't know, like it's good but it's broken in this way, and you see the things that aren't great as a creative. But this space offers you the ability to step up and go to the next level and say, yes, I want that, I'm going to go get that. It's really easy, it's a form, it's an email, and go do that. So I love this, for that.
Absolutely, and I know everyone here appreciates you and your efforts for what you've put in, man. I mean, it's I often sing your praises on how you're able to handle like the official chats, like some of the responses to things. Like people see my response to like the leaderboard. It's not as diplomatic. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, no, no, for sure.
yeah,
It's a
because yeah,
struggle when you
yeah.
see that chat that's like criticizing you, like you have to understand like what at the end of the day, I think a lot of people who come through and they criticize the sandbox game, they aren't necessarily criticizing the sandbox game. They're seeing it as like, I committed this time and I'm not seeing this value, right?
Mm-hmm,
So if you
mm-hmm.
can come through and you can say, well, your value is more than just playing the game. Your value is creating, your value is, your art. Maybe they just want to play the game, maybe they don't care about all that, but if they come through and they become creators in the space, they realize that it's pretty easy and it's an industry that they like. If you already like to play games, then you probably already would like to develop games. So if they can do that, then I think that's going to take it to the next level. So it's really easy to transition people who dislike the product into people who do like the product, just because they already like playing games. So of course it's like, it's for me, if you don't like what I'm doing, do it better. And then they go, okay, I will. And there it is,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and I think that this space really kind of exemplifies that, and I often sing the praises of this crowd in general, even though there is trolls from time to time, or people get upset, and which is different from being a troll, of course. Um, that overall people seem to resolve things a lot easier than, say, I don't know, like the Call of Duty community or something.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
You know,
100%, 100%.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
I think, and like I say, they're more intelligent than probably the lay user in the gaming community, because like I don't have to explain what the fiat currency system is to them, and like
right.
why we're in cryptos, and why it's good to own our own digital assets. And now this kind of leads me to a somewhat funny next question. Like, so, like, how many have you? And you've been kicked off of some like major places like social medias, right? Like GameStop, was it GameStop? Was what, or GameSpot, or Um,
Uh,
which one was it, or is it
well,
Kotaku, or which one?
yeah, okay. So the only place where I've officially been kicked off was Google AdSense, actually. So at the very, and that's a huge place to be kicked off, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah. No,
Like,
I saw a small one.
dude,
Yeah.
the very early days of my journalism, I worked with a guy named John Q. Super nice guy, like fantastic journalist. I don't know why he didn't continue to do it. It's, I constantly want to keep connecting with him and bring him back into the space. But at this time, we both worked at Walmart, right? Um, I worked in the electronics department. He worked selling cell phones. And while we were selling cell phones, we had a bunch of demo phones. Google kicked us off of our journalist outlet, like in terms of making money anyway. Like, we still had the website, but we couldn't make any cash because we didn't have any ads left, because he opened 5 different cell phones at once and went click, 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 click on every ad on all 5 cell phones. And they don't give you a second chance. They just say, nope, you're done. Get out. You tried to scam us. It's done. So that was the only time I've ever been like really exodus from any sort of outlet. But I haven't done anything like super bad since I was like
No.
16. When I was
Uh-huh.
16, I used to do a bunch of like legitimate hacking things that got
Yeah.
me a couple letters from the FBI, but I haven't done anything weird since then because
Well,
I
yeah.
learned my
These
lesson as
these
a
are
kid.
I guess more of like the shadow bans, because I've seen you like make just shut people up when it comes to digital rights and ownership, and I've seen the some of these pretty big like social media sites kind of like it's marvelous, because I know that a lot of us really do kind of have to demonstrate to a lot of the users out here, like especially gamers, because we're talking about a lot of us, coming from that game background, like why it's in your interest to go into like something like the Sandbox or some of these
Mm,
other IPs where you're owning your stuff, and and this is one of the things that, like how you having the position that you do and having the audience that you do. I do commend the fact that you stand really really solid on these points of ownership, as well as even like the ecology aspect of energy consumption and things like that. um,
sure.
so yeah, that's because this, I mean, ultimately this is one of the things that I say too, just even in my dealings with various large entities, like when it really comes down to it, like how with say energy efficacy, like they kind of want to be efficient too, because that means more money for them. um, so
Yeah.
but and so that's kind of what's happening here. And so this is one of the things that, like, in terms of in this is just one of those whatever you think kind of questions, but like with the state of crypto right now, like is this what is there, what would you say is what makes Sandbox unique in these kind of climates?
Well, okay, so I'll probably defer to like my time in New York for this. That the Sandbox is different because, I mean, first, of course, we commit like the situation came down. You talk about ecology. People were upset that Ethereum was at the time, what, 6 8 months ago, solicited as this
Mm-hmm.
bad thing because it was traditional blockchain, right? It was proof of
Mm-hmm.
work
Mm-hmm.
blockchain. The Sandbox says, okay, you don't like that. We're going to pivot. We're going to move to Polygon chain, which is a proof of stake blockchain. It's 1,000 times more energy efficient. It's more energy efficient than sending an email to mint an
Mm-hmm.
NFT,
Mm-hmm.
because you're minting 1,000 NFTs for the cost of one email rather than one. Um, so that's great. But if you talk about the larger sort of crypto landscape, I appreciate the fact that proof of work makes sense in a certain way. Bitcoin makes sense as proof of work because it has no single entity in control of it, and no real group of entities either, right? Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
super decentralized and it's great in that way. Ethereum makes sense because it has the largest decentralized group of entities in charge of it, even at this point. And then like Polygon chain has a good like 8 9,000 companies now that rely upon it, so that makes sense in its own way. So um, I'm seeing Cartraz saying, "Can you hack the scammer that steals people's NFTs?" I can't, because the nature of decentralization means that no one person can be in charge of all of the stuff, right? And so that's why, in its purest sense, the blockchain is sort of forever, right? Like it's permanent. I can't, if I can't do it, if 1,000 people can't do it, if 1,000 people can't be in control of it, then it's sort of the safest chain that exists in, whether it's Bitcoin, it's ETH, it's Poly, it's Solana, whatever it is. you know you
Hmm.
can't just take it away from somebody. So a transaction is
Yeah.
permanent. And that's one of the reasons why, when we do our live show, I constantly stress, like, all the time, be safe, hold to, wallets. Don't just keep your one wallet, and, like,
Yeah.
because you can't get, you have a permanent storage and then, like, a temporary use wallet, things like that, because you want to be as safe as humanly possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And most of our crowd here, I think, is pretty secure in that sense. Although, in like how this, I actually, there's an article I saw MIT technology showing this chat bot essentially that was high placed in the strategy game that had to deal with creating alliances with humans, and the humans didn't realize that they were playing against a bot. And that's like a
Hmm.
good chat bot, right? There's the bad ones, and so it doesn't matter like how like the technology is advanced to where these things can fool anyone. So don't feel bad if your shit got scammed because someone
Sure.
spent a lot of money to get your money. You know what I mean? And I think, and this is just my, whatever, comment on that, because I kind of see, like, in a sense, the community at large, almost like I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with the game Skyrim, and I think that in a lot of ways that there's going to be like a Skyrim economy, in the sense that that little red mark is going to be somewhere if that's been stolen in its history. Like, someone is going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Just out of sheer tenacity. And even though there might be nothing official that can be done with it, there'll probably be some places that won't deal with anyone that kind of has these little marks or something. Um, because some people are really pissed. You know what I mean? They really are, and it's understandable. Um, and like how you say, I think the advice given on security is great, and how I always say, it's like, don't put your eggs in one basket, including the hot wallets, including the cold wallets, etc. And now one of the things on that note, and this is kind of one of those win whatever questions, right? But this is a little bit more of a developer win question, in the sense of like, and when is it going? Does it seem like it might come to be where we'll be able to associate like our MetaMask account over here with the Sandbox with our cold storage over here, kind of thing? Like, in terms of multiple account kind of wallet associations in that sense. Is that any
Yeah,
time on the
yeah,
horizon?
yeah, 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 yeah. So you're talking about just the Sandbox.game, right?
Yeah, yeah. So like being able, because
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
yeah, because like for
So
like for
the
us here working, we kind of like how it goes. Like, you sometimes work in a team too and stuff like this, or like you're kind of working in different environments. And then even like your own personal versus kind of like, especially me as a creator, right? Like, I have like
Yep.
my creator fund account that I'm minting stuff from versus like my other personal one, but they're still kind of together. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
the idea, I think it came about like 6 or so months ago, but it takes some time to develop, of course, from the dashboard team, because, despite the fact that there's some 500 people working at the Sandbox game, it does take time to develop these different kinds of things. So the website itself has probably 50 of those people working on it, and those
okay,
people are working on different kinds of things. Like, you saw the entire new refresh of the website, but
yeah,
there was an update probably a week before that, maybe 2 weeks before that, that kind of made it more like Web 2 compatible, if that makes sense. So you want to get more people who are online, and
mm-hmm.
then when they start to earn, they can then turn it over and get a Web3 wallet. Um, so that kind of integration has been made, and all these processes usually take like 6 to 8 months to kind of put into place. But we want to be able to have it so people can have more than one Web3 wallet associated with their email. But it also sort of creates a shift in the way that it's built, because right now, the Web3 wallet is the way you log in, despite the fact that you
Mm-hmm.
have a
Mm-hmm.
username, an email, a password, whatever. The Web3 wallet is the real login. Um, So it means sort of a shift the opposite direction, where your email address and your password are your main login, and then your Web3 wallets can then all be associated with that, whether it's 1, 2, 10, whatever it may be. But again, this is a process that's in the works,
Yeah.
so that does take some time to do.
Yeah. That's I mean that's still encouraging to me because yeah, I totally understand how these things take a while, and then especially when you have so many users in that database, that's just like how I
Yeah.
often I often talk about on the stream here, like I think a lot of people take for granted the fucking magic that goes on with the sandbox at all. And so, like, how people ask me, like, what did you think of the season 3 alpha? I'm like, the fact that there was no catastrophic failures of the server or any specific experience means it went fucking fantastic.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It's interesting because, like,
oh,
yeah, 100%. Like, if you compare that to any other like launch of any kind, any game that's an MMO style game, right? They will have those catastrophic failures. They will have those DD.
mm-hmm,
They'll
mm-hmm.
say, "Oh, we got DDoS attacked," and then it's like, no, you actually just had a lot of people who were interested in your product,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
didn't happen, right? So that was really good for us. But I think we're going to see things that, especially things that people comment on in the community, when they comment on them, like literally, if you watch a chat and you just see our live show and you see over and over and over the same kind of comments, you know that we have already seen them. But that not only do we see them, but I get like one, two comments, and I'm already trying to get those things worked on. If it's 10, like we're past the point where I'm already trying to get it worked on. You get into season 3, there were a couple of things that were like hundreds of comments, and I was
Wow.
like, "Yes, we're working on those." But, like, so if you ever see me say it twice in the chat, you know that we're already working on it. But I think
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
that's a really good thing about what we're doing here in this space, because despite the fact that we don't have like a type of a DAO, like a proper DAO.
mm-hmm.
We have immediate connections between myself and Alex and Panda, and like we turn those straight up to people who can make that change. Certain features will take a back seat sometimes when somebody says like, I want a search function in the game maker. It's like, okay, cool, that goes in the back behind the ability to swim. But
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
there's all kinds of really cool things that happen in there. But yeah, the response to season 3 I think is really good, because there was a certain point in my mind where I shifted from like even responding to like the leaderboard thing or whatever, to how can we fix it for season 4? Because I think that people who really are invested in the sandbox game, people who really care and aren't just interested in making a couple of bucks, they're saying like, okay, I understand this development process takes longer than overnight,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
we can do this for season 4. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shifts for season 4, the kinds of new content that we see for season 4, and the expansion of the metaverse there.
I totally agree, and I mean to me it was all very encouraging. I mean, and even this sort of post season stuff going on right now has been even more encouraging. I mean, we've had some firsts in the sense of like first like shooting kind of things that happen within this bandwidth, first kind of flying experience stuff. Um,
Mhm.
and uh, and then too, one of the things that I was pointing out during the alpha was that how there was already starting a bear dip in the market in general in crypto, but how
Sure.
sand stuck there at like 80 to even 90ish cents during that bear, and you can tell it was from even just this insurgence of X amount of, not probably not even millions, it was probably like thousands of dollars that came into that ecosystem. And so that little burst, how I was saying, for those who are in it for just more than just money and the ecology in general, notice that. And I think that there are more businesses noticing this, and I think there is more investment coming. And this is why I always try to reassure all of our friends and developers here, because we're most of us here are creators, and if they're not creators here all the time, they're the users that we all appreciate the most, because they're the ones playing through everything, they're the ones buying in the market, things like
Yeah.
this. um, and just kind of loop back with what you're saying there. And this is one of the things I think is taken for granted, and this is why I don't tolerate too much Joe trash talking against Joe here, because it's like how you're saying, it's like this, you're actually able to take these comments and you're trying to make action out of them. Now, just doing that's enough, but then hearing how the sandbox actually responds is something that's fucking rare in corporate life. And so, would you say that's kind of the climate in Sandbox in general? Is to kind of be a little bit more empathetic in the business
Yeah,
rules?
I mean, I think that well, that's one of the core tenets that we've had is that trying to be people centric, right, and trying to be organic, in a sense that like we're going to grow good developers from within. We're going to make sure that people who are watching, who are caring about the space, are going to be building in the space in the next year, 2 years, 3 years. But another thing, like back to the point of what you're talking about with the token, is that the sandbox isn't necessarily going to like look at the token and say, "Oh, well, that's what we're doing good, we're doing bad," right? Um, the way that we have built, I remember on day one, absolute day one, I'm going to say day zero for the token. This is August of what, 2020. We released a sand token and it shot up to 8 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And Arthur, the CEO of the company, says, "Holy shit, it's 8 cents. We didn't expect it to be 8 cents. We thought it would be like 2 cents."
Yeah,
And the IPO was 5 cents. And that meant that we could fund the company for 3 years at 8 cents.
yeah,
Right? Without a thought, without a worry. So now we're at 80 cents. Where can we fund the company from here? Where can the sandbox go from here? And so it's going to be the same sort of mindset going forward as we continue to have these like bigger and bigger publishers, and we continue to have more and more volume. If you looked at the white paper, you know that every time a thing sells one way or another, whether it
mm-hmm,
sells up or
mm-hmm.
it sells down, that 5% of the transaction fee goes to the future of the sandbox game. So you know that there's a strong future for the
Yeah,
sandbox game as long as the volume, as the interest
yep, yep,
continues to be high. And I
exactly.
think we can continue to do that as developers, as creators. We're keeping the interest high and strong, not just because there's, the Snoop Dogs and the Gucci's and the whatevers out there in the space, but because
Mm-hmm,
we're
mm-hmm.
actually making it work. We're making good stuff here. We're having a good time on this show, and we're making high quality experiences. So that's what it goes. That's what you can tell when things are going well. I got through an interview just a couple of days ago. I think it was like last Wednesday or something, um, with the pickaxe master. And in that
Oh
interview,
yeah,
we
yeah.
finished the interview, and they said, "Thank you so much. I remember stepping up and just watching your show." And it was like that person themselves has made a career from what they are doing now, and they were just watching a live stream that I made, kind of doing the same thing, like starting it organically. So that
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
growth shows that the sandbox game is going to be prosperous 5, 10 years from now, right? Because people organically are making careers out of just building and making cool stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, my story is in that sense is kind of similar. Where just organic, just transformation, and I love what I'm doing now. I'm able to keep afloat, enough off of just doing gigs here because, and I even over this time, now I've seen the frequency of gigs going up like easily. Like there's a lot more people looking to invest money in everything, and I'm telling them because like my background before was very hardcore corporate structure shares and at that executive level talking shares and IP with patents and stuff. And I'm like, dude, no one in any other business would drop money like I'm seeing in the sandbox from just organic growth, and
Mm.
just that alone. Like that's why to me I'm like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me when I hear Animoca got X amount, many millions of funding from these other people, because they're already showing this massive front end of income, and that's kind of one of the things I point to as well when you hear like honestly they're fucking stupid, or things of like, oh, Sandbox is gonna go down and they're rug pulling. It's like, motherfucker, there's been like $3 billion in volume that
Yeah,
day.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is you have people who, those people, when you see them in your chat, if you see them in the on the Twitter or whatever,
Uh-huh.
those are people who showed up for that season. And I think that's something that you really have to pay attention to as you look at, like, because I've seen it through season one, season two, season three, right? Like people who come in and they just want the cash, the short cash. the like,
Mm-hmm.
$500 or whatever for playing in the season, and maybe they get the season pass. Those are going to be the people who are upset. Those are the people who are
Mm-hmm.
panicking
Mm-hmm.
and they're frustrated because they did whatever they're going to do. But the people who are paying attention, the people who are really actually listening, and they're not just filling out the forms because they want the free stuff, those are the people who are proving that the sandbox game can be what it is and what it will
Mm-hmm.
be. Because those are the people who are creating. They've decided to open up the game maker and start making a game. They competed in game jams. They competed in box edit contests. They,
Yep. Yep.
excuse me, submitted for the game maker fund. Those people have plans,
Yep.
they have ideas, and they're ready to create. And you don't see that from those people who are in the chat, and they're, for lack of a better term, fudding it up. They're
Yep.
they're
Pretty much.
they're saying that everything's awful and it's caught on fire or whatever. And I would say that as a creator, like somebody who, especially somebody who's live all the time, if you're constantly seeing those chats, um, that's something that you have to think about a lot, because otherwise you're going to be stressed out. You're going to be strained.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Typically, the best idea that you can have is to completely ignore that sort of activity, with the exception of reminding them that they can create, that they can become part of that
Yeah.
ecosystem, because it gets pretty taxing. During the last season, I had anger threats, active death threats to myself
Mm-hmm.
personally. And the as much as you kind of have to put it to the side. You have to put it away
Yeah.
and say, like, that's not the actual community. That's just the people who are here for the short time that want $50 or whatever it is,
Yeah.
for their time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Way too
yeah,
serious. Yeah. Yeah. And I make fun of those people, and that's because, yeah, like a lot of them are all talk, because straight up, when someone is really trying to do you harm, they don't let you know beforehand. um,
sure.
and that's who you have to really look out for. And I think, and especially just being in crypto, just if you're in crypto for so long, you realize there's dastardly people. I need defenses in general. So you kind of get just inherently a heads up kind of display anyways, I've found. And and just to kind of go back here in that sense, and yeah, that's that poise that I'm talking about. Like, during this last season, I was seeing like a lot of this anger from people we've never seen before, and like I said, I'm getting into my third year now, and it seemed like the year 3 for you was like the sweet spot for Sandbox. So I'm looking forward to this year for myself. And because, yeah, you're seeing this evolution, and like you're saying, you went out there, you made the effort. You're the guy now on the GMAE and a lot more. Very good success. I mean, everything that's going good for you because of that tenacity, that sincerity, and if and you can too, so to speak. And yeah, I feel you on that. And yeah, and that's what's cool about this space. And because, yeah, sometimes once in a while people will say, well, why do these people keep winning the game jams? Oh, I don't know, maybe because they're fucking building all the time. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
are you?
that's a huge one. That's a huge one, because I've actually, specifically for Vox Edit, I've seen a lot of
Oh yeah.
people complain about how people are winning like multiple Vox Edit contests, and it's like, no offense, but like, yeah, no shit. They're winning multiple Vox Edit contests. They're
Mm-hmm.
good at what they do. And
Yep.
so because when we submit them, and we do these votings, just full disclosure, when we do the votings for Vox Edit, there's never been a name attached to an asset. It is a list of blind assets and their animations, right?
Hmm.
And so we
Interesting.
go through and we vote for those based on, like, how do they look? How do they animate? Do they fit the theme? All these other things. And so we put these votes in and then we submit it. And what happens happens. It has nothing to do with like who submitted it at all. And so, like, Alex mentioned the other day that there was like a sort of a good old boys club. Somebody said that
Oh yeah, yeah.
because Alex and Lucas, I think Alex, Lucas, and a small handful of people ended up getting a land, but it was a straight random raffle. I didn't get a land. Becky Letoff, who does like the all of the education, didn't get a
Mm-hmm,
land.
mm-hmm.
Many other people did not get a land. We have the sand to do so, but we didn't get a land because it's just straight up raffle, right?
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
it's just it's one of those things where, like, people are going to come through. Of course, they're going to hate, but at the end of the day, it's just their predisposition. And so you kind of have to filter out the hate from like the real like value. Like, can we get you to understand that you can submit to be these things? Like when people say the games suck or whatever it is going to be, like they don't. But if they say that they do, I'm going to say, great, make one that's better. I will help you make one that's better, you know? And if they
Yeah.
can do that, then that's fantastic.
Yeah, in the case of you're a big boy now, that's a pretty low fucking bar. So,
Yeah, I mean, that's yeah, well, you
just had to
know,
do that shot.
that's
Like I
the
said,
thing.
I try not to
It's
advertise
not
for
the
things I don't
only
like.
game that I
You know.
think can be better. Okay, I think there were many games that could have been better inside that alpha at the end of the day, but there were only so many games that we at the council could QA, and so we'll
That's,
make sure that the
that's not your fault,
user
Joseph.
generated content games are better than they were when they started. You know, there were quite a few games out there that I remember us doing QA for. And when it came down to the actual day of alpha, and I did that little thing where I put out that poll of what's your favorite game, people were submitting the games where I was like, hell yeah, we did QA for that game and it's better now because it used to suck.
Damn
You
right.
know,
That's right.
so yeah,
Spike that
that's what
football.
it's all about. It's all about
Yeah.
growth. It's all about making a better product at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. And I've seen like the before and afters after the council's consulting, and yeah, it's blind day after it, and I think that that service is going to be in very very high demand once they're like, especially once more of the business money does come pump into it. And that's one of the things I mentioned, like say like the second Care Bears experience. It's not like the Care Bears can't throw a bunch of money at it. It's just
Right,
because they're
right.
used to a lot. When it's time, they're going to blow everyone out of the water.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
and that's
not
the
there
thing
yet.
is like you're going to see different. You're going to see experiences vary, and you're going to see different sort of departments affect different things. And that's sort of a testament to the scale of what the sandbox is, right? Because you do have 500 people who are working across the company, but not all 500 people are sort of on the same page, and that happens
Yeah.
naturally because you're growing so fast, you're going so wide that you have to have a few people that can sort of bring it all back into one place. And so that's when I do like when I did the live show with Pickaxe Master, right? Like they have a fantastic game. They had a fantastic experience when I
Mm-hmm,
played through it. And I played through it live and they went like, "Wait, like we have never seen somebody play it blindly before. We knew where everything was, so we thought it was great." And that's what a good QA can do for you at the end of the
yeah.
day, and that's what, these experiences are gonna be all about. The Care Bears experience, that second one that came out, it was sort of the same thing. It was like people kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt. You made a great first experience. The second experience is kind of empty, but they know, there was no reason to say that that wasn't gonna be great at the
Mm-hmm,
time.
mm-hmm.
So I think, you get a couple of different spaces out there. You get a couple of different experiences out there, and you're going to find that these companies, these groups are going to say like, "Wait, I did great with my first one, but I kind of let the second or third one fall to the wayside as a result." So companies will put more time in. Ultimately, 3 to 6 months into a really good experience, and then they'll start to have people check them and make sure they're great before they put them live. And so that's the difference, I think, between season 4 or 5 or 6 or wherever it may be going forward in the next year or two.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, because especially as we get closer to like, or more features begin to go live, and I think one of those big features would be something like being when experiences can actually go on to land is going to be one of those big, marks, so to speak, and
Yeah.
for money too, like for in the space in general. And that's kind of why I keep encouraging all the creators here that you're still early, because that hasn't happened yet. And so that's really kind of almost like the starting, bell in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
absolutely. I think you're spot on with that because right now you think about even these experiences have come out that are curated have flaws, right?
Hmm.
And so when we get into a space where it's sort of full user generated content and anybody can publish to their land anywhere all over the place, I think you're going to have that happen sort of both direction. I think you're going to get a little bit of that like FUD, right? You're going to get people saying like, "Oh, well, this doesn't bring the attraction that I thought it was going to bring to this space." to those people who are off on the fringe, like if they're far away from an attraction land, or they'll see an attraction land, and of those like 24 or 24 by 24, 12 by 12 spaces or whatever they may be, they may see that those developers haven't developed all of their space right away. And
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
once they realize that like marketing is going to be as important as making a high quality game, that's going to be the real shift in that period, I think, is people saying like, I need to actually let people know that I exist
Mm-hmm.
at the same time as making sure my quality is good, and it'll transform the sandbox as a website from this like idea into more like the Apple Store, the Epic Games Store at that point, where people will realize, oh God, I have to actually have a good something behind and a good attraction to pull people into my thing.
Yeah.
So I think the people who are here, especially people who are in this chat right now, like people who already own land, people who are creating in the space, they have to realize that. And if they realize that now, they'll dominate later. You know?
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I often say here is that the success of any given experience in the sandbox in the future is really going to come down to the players, not so much even like how big the company is. It's like, what are the players actually enjoying, and what are they
Yeah.
where are they visiting? And that's kind of where I'm saying like how when say the concern has came up about like location of land, and it's like it kind of doesn't matter if you have the thing that people want to play. And this is kind
Right.
of where we can look at the sandbox's cousin Decentraland, and that's kind of like a good example. It's like you have a bunch of nothing land, and where there's something worth looking at, people are just going to, and it's super ambiguous. And here you have the sandbox where you can, and I'm sure that there's analytics that will become available at some point to the public in terms of like, oh, this is a lot of people here right now, and or someone's going to track that, and so
Yeah,
if you
I
make it
mean, we
good,
we
they'll
do have
come.
those analytics. Like we know where things go and what they do, and it's all integrated. And it's pretty easy to tell because when you go onto the website, right? Like if you go to any individual land, you just click on it, you can see the URL changes at the top. It'll say like a negative 15, 475 or whatever it's
Mm-hmm,
going to be.
mm-hmm.
That's way off the actual map, but uh, the that allows us to see that as creators, and so yeah, that'll be integrated at a certain point where people will be able to see
Cool.
what their individual stats are. But at the end of the day, again, it's going to be high quality content that draws people, but even less so. Like high quality content is going to get you started. I think high quality marketing is going to keep you strong. So, if you see somebody like Snoop Dogg's space, they're going to have a free automatic bump, right? Because Snoop Dogg is going to have Death Row Records out there. People are going to
Mm-hmm,
show up for
mm-hmm.
Death Row Records. And where are you? Adjacency to that, you're going to get a free bump. But if you can make a high quality content and you hashtag Death Row Records on Twitter or something when it comes out, then you're going to get free marketing for that, right? And
Yeah.
and so you have to understand how search engine optimization works in order to get free clicks, free views, free players. And then if you get those free players, one out of every 100 people or so, then they're going to see you have a great game and you've paid attention and you QA'd it, and they're going to start following you. So
Yeah.
it's it's
Definitely.
it's a lot of things. At the end of the game, you also need to tell people who you are, because if they just stumbled upon you and they like what you're doing, tell them who you are, and then they're going to come in and they're going to follow you on the Twitters. They're going to follow you on Facebook or wherever you're going to be, your website, what have you, and they're going to care about you as a person, and they're going to follow your next game.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess this kind of leads into like something else I'm kind of wondering. How we're talking about like the market fees and things like that being part of what ultimately keeps the apparatus moving. And now in there, is there gonna be like an overall sort of like pay, like or prizes for playing, shall we say, like, or is that gonna be purely up to us as the landowners for that kind of pay and earn, quote unquote, even though it's kind of know that's kind of a passe
Sure.
term these days, but yeah, so is there a
Yeah.
global pay and earn thing in works, or what basically?
Well, so the global pay to play or pay to earn or play to
Play to earn,
earn, I
yeah.
should say, is if you are part of the season of content, right? So you're submitting to the Sandbox team. I made this. I want to be part of the season. You can be part of the season. So if you're not reaching out, if you're not actively trying to be a part of what the Sandbox is doing, then it's going to be really hard for you to get into that pool because that pool is coming from the 5% that comes from every sale of land, every sale of an NFT, what have you, throughout.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you as a developer are going to have to build a play to earn economy if you think that's the reason why people are going to play your game. I'm going to juxtapose that with saying that people play video games not because they make money on them, right? We all know it.
Hmm.
We have
Hmm.
games we've bought, we've paid with cash because they're good. So if you're making a game that's good, people will pay to play your game. It doesn't matter if it's a
Hmm.
dollar,
Hmm.
$5, $50, $75, right? People are going to pay to play your game if it's good. So I would say that as a developer, whether you are play to earn economy and you're trying to get people to play and you're going to pay them to play, you're going to want to incentivize people to play your game because it's good first before you're
Yep,
going to
yep.
incentivize them to play the game because they're going to make some money on it. Especially as from a business standpoint, you're not really going to earn any money unless you run your game like a casino where only 40% of people can win it and then they lose their money. You're not going to earn any money by having people earn money off of your game. So make something that's great. Make something that's must be played first. And then otherwise, you can also include your game that must be played in the season because it must be played. The sandbox is, of course, going to want to kind of sponsor that game and have it in season 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that like how you mentioned earlier, the like the pickaxe masters is a good example of a system that they have set up to have like some kind of value. You know what I mean? And I think
Hmm.
because Bruno and the crew over there definitely see how like the NFTs are something that kind of can generate this value in a sense from relatively nowhere. And I think that if anything, the sandbox in general has kind of demonstrated that ability. I mean, the NFT market, I think, is a lot of people are talking about, in the news, Bored Apes, but it's like who's really moving the volume here? And I think Sandbox is obviously the one that's doing that. And so I think kind of like going to where you're saying a traditional pay to play, how in the Sandbox it does make it possible to even just merchandise off of a commoditized land experience, shall we say. And yeah, I think we're really really are all early here, and I think that this is what's great about even having you here, having this conversation, because we are kind of, we're getting a lot in terms of what I mean. Because like for instance, we'll go back to like the contest, right? Because so you heard what Joseph said, right? He said it's blind, and so that means like that whatever tally, like he's not doing that tally either. So stop blaming Joseph for contests. So,
Yeah, I mean
oh,
it is what it is though. That's the thing. Like to each of us, especially as a streamer, you got to really take in. You have to know the line, and the line is a very short line. It's a very short line. Real content or real comments, right, is one, two, three people, right? Those people are saying something and you see it and you go like, yeah, that you're right. That doesn't make sense. And you start to make a note of it and you pass it forward to the people that can make that change. But to go through, once you get to like 4, 5, 6, 7 comments about whatever, if somebody says whatever they're gonna say, I don't know, they that you just drop it. You go like, "All right, okay, yeah, all right, yep," because you made a note of it at 1, 2, 3, 4 people. The 10th person, if you start to see that and let it like ticket you, then you're gonna need to see a psychologist. You know what I mean? You have to
mhm,
just drop
mhm.
it. So you can move forward, and this is true with any game dev, anybody who's making a video, anybody who's creating an asset that goes live in the marketplace. If somebody says this sucks, cool. You ask them, how can it be better? And then beyond that, if they don't want to tell you that, they never had any value at all. They just wanted to make some money off you, you know? So the future of the Sandbox game, the future of OG Shakespeare, the future of anybody comes from real productive input and not just some BS. So ignore the noise as much as you can and keep
Yeah.
building.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in this environment, like I said, it is unique, and I'm not one to get like enamored with brands by any fucking means. And it's more of like there's a strong plan here. Even like for me to go, oh, like because at first this is just quick thing. Like I was like, someone has to be tokenizing virtual real estate. So I just started looking up what's up with tokenized virtual real estate. Decentraland was one of the first ones that came up, and I was like, oh crap, that's worth a lot already. There has to be someone who's not quite as far along as them,
Yeah.
but who still has a lot of backing, et cetera, et cetera. Because and yeah, that's the Sandbox. So I'm like, oh, $50, sure, I'll do that. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it started. But then when I saw like, okay, let me look into what this is. Besides, oh, $50, who cares, right? It was I saw like the market, and like because I do have a background in making different advertisements and web spaces and stuff like that, and seeing what like you usually get in creative spaces for your work in general, even contracting for different movies and stuff like that. And I saw the Sandbox's deal where they're like, it's like, wait a minute, they're not taking any ownership of this, like they're just letting us sell on this. And then I kind of, and then I already just snapped to the other economy of like, stock models, stock photography, stuff like this, where these are self-sustaining fucking industries, and you have this rolled up into this gaming platform where I don't have to code. I'm like, oh my god. And like, yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I think I'll spend another $50, and and see, this is where I should have like borrowed money, is like why I keep telling myself, like back when land was like $50.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting that you say that because like I think at the end of the day, regardless of what the investment is, regardless of what the company is, like you have to also be careful, right? Because like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously we can preach the gospel of what the Sandbox is today, always and forever,
Hallelujah. Yeah.
right? But at the same time, you look at like anything that comes around, and it could potentially have made back end sort of engagements that aren't so savory. And obviously, that's not happening with the Sandbox game, right? But you look at companies like Star Atlas, which I'm very
Oh,
excited
yeah.
for Star Atlas as a game. I'm very excited for them as a platform. I'm excited for them as a metaverse in their own right. But
Yeah.
they invested in FTX, and FTX collapsed. And so,
Yeah,
what are
it
you going to
did.
do, right? What are you going to do at that point if that happens? And so, it's sort of the same idea of like, regardless of where you're at, you need to sort of hedge your bets. You can see something that's really cool and really good, and you can invest in it, and you can have a good time with it, and you can build in it. But also, you need to sort of like make sure that you have a dominant amount of your money not in any one thing,
Yeah,
to make
absolutely.
sure that you're safe and smart and happy with 5 years from now. Because obviously you're always going to go, oh damn, geez, I wish I would have done that. Like I had 330,000 sand at some point,
Yeah, I recall this story. Yeah.
right? Like I can look back and go, oh damn, geez, like I wish I would have had that when it was $8 a share or whatever. I'd be
Yeah.
like, I don't work anymore, forget about it. But at the end of the
Just
day,
enjoying
like you don't
Washington. Yeah.
if you just invested in one product and it didn't work out, then that would have been awful to have all of that in one
Mm-hmm.
space.
Mm-hmm.
So this, where I am now, I'm very happy, doing what I'm doing and where we are now. And I would encourage everybody to continue to operate in that way, to be safe, play safe, be smart, and go that way.
Well, I mean, really, to your own credit, I mean, no one has 100% hit record, right? I mean, it's like you win some, you
Sure.
lose some, but obviously your overall average is pretty damn good, and we know that you diversify in other metaverses too. So because we see that there's the whole interoperability aspect of things, that makes the metaverse what it is in that sense. Um,
Yeah.
and so this is kind of where, like, as far as this kind of gets into a more Sandbox question, like when, like, hey, let's put it this way, the integration of more avatars and kind of going even from the Sandbox out. is that something that's going to happen? Like, are we going to be able to see like voxels in Decentraland or something like that from like a official stamped kind of perspective, shall we say?
Well, at the end of the day, voxelized assets going out has to do with the company, right? It has less to do with the sandbox itself, and more so to do with the external partner. So the timeline on this, I'm not quite sure, but you look at an app like Flick Play. And I don't know if you're familiar with them, but the
Yeah.
Flick Play is something like Rasul has been pretty strong in for a while. I've been in a couple of meetings with them, and they want to bring like all the Wizzy assets into Flick Play. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
what you need. Is it's not the
Yeah.
opposite. It's not the sandbox needing to reach out. It's the other company wanting to commit the work effort into bringing an asset into it. So if it's something smaller, that person, whoever created that smaller asset, needs to reach out to those other companies and say, yes, I want to bring my thing that I created in this ecosystem to you, and I'm willing to put in the amount of work as long as you're willing to put in the amount of work. And if everybody agrees, interoperability is there. So that's where Star Atlas,
Mm-hmm.
coming to the sandbox game, doing that, making those assets interoperable there, made sense. And I think that's going to continue with the sandbox game. But it needs to be people who are interested in taking the NFT they made natively here and bringing additional value to other ecosystems elsewhere. So, I'm gonna try my damnedest to make sure that like other side has whatever kind of
Mm-hmm.
integration
Mm-hmm.
we can bring those Wizzy assets to other side, right? But
Very cool.
not everybody's gonna do that.
Yeah, and that's specifically why I asked that question to get the beans. Like, hey, he has said Wizzies are going to be another side. Catch that?
Right. I mean, that's the thing is that there's no guarantee, right? So there's no commitment on that sort of stuff.
I'm
But at
guaranteeing
the
it,
end of the
Joseph.
day,
I'm just
at the end of the day,
kidding.
you want to do that. If you're making a good asset, whether you're making it in the sandbox game natively or making it externally and you're bringing it to the sandbox game, interoperability is huge in Web3 because
Mm-hmm.
people want
Absolutely.
to see value for the assets they have. If you're buying a World of Women, you want to see it that somebody can see that you own that World of Women asset wherever you are all around the
Yeah.
world in any
Mm-hmm.
platform that you're in, right? And they can't see your avatar when you're in the sandbox game. So it needs to now become the actual character avatar inside the sandbox game in order to have continued value.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's great because if the sentiment already seems to be going that way, you can say, and once again, it's one of these things I think can be almost overlooked or taken for granted in a business world, and that's one of the things I've heard from either other business associates how they've looked into the sandbox and the Web3 environment in general. They say for the most part is this way where they're very collaborative, whereas most business in general tends to be more cutthroat and competitive.
Mhm.
Or at least they're very open to collaboration in this Web3 world. And I think that does have to do with the fact that we're somewhat all kind of activists on some level with digital assets when it comes down to it because it is such a new frontier. Um, I mean, and let's say like this is just kind of another softballer for you. Um, what would you go back to yourself now in crypto time machine and say, hey, young Joseph, remember this? You know, is there
Oh
anything?
boy.
Yeah.
Uh well, let's say I would have sold XRP at 250. Um I would have, I don't know where it is now, right? But just timeline. Timeline, I was really hot on Ripple very early because I understood I've always been focused on fundamentals, right? I've never been hugely focused on just like what's my moonshot, but fundamentals. Um, I am
Mm-hmm.
Bengali laughs about Luna.
Oh, Luna.
At the
Yeah.
end of the day, to be clear, chat. I told the whole internet on Twitter when I was an idiot buy $100 in Luna now because it's garbage, right? I've been around the crypto space long enough to see dumb ass shit get a
Mm,
lot of money dumped into it because
damn
there's
right.
maybe a possibility that sometimes ever it could make money, right? So to be fair, I sold my Luna at $50 when I bought it at 100 because I was like, yeah, this was a dumbass play. Pretty sure I told Twitter that. I could be wrong. Alex didn't, and his was last I checked worth $250 for his $100 because he bought the Luna Classic and it still worked. But when I go back in time, again, I would not have sold sand at 10 cents. I bought it at 2 cents, 330,000 shares, sold it at 10 cents. Felt real good about that. Um, for a lot of reasons, right? Like at the time,
Yeah.
that's a shit ton of money. It's like,
Oh
what is
yeah,
that,
yeah.
30
It's good.
grand?
Yeah.
Uh, and I was like, yes, I'm super smart. And then like $8 comes around, and I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot, you know. But at the same time, I also had a good, I don't know, 30, 40 plots of land. So, what
Yeah.
would I have sold most of those? No, because I bought some for other people that I knew when it was like you said, like $30, $40. I bought
Mm-hmm,
some for my
mm-hmm.
friends that I had in Discord, and I was like, "You get a land, you get a land, build some shit here." One of my friends there, when ETH was at its peak, sold a land for 5 ETH because it touched something, the Pong estate. I think it touched the Pong estate. He sold it for 5 ETH. And he was like, "What do I do with my $25,000?" And I was like, "I don't fucking know, my guy. Just don't ever sell it." Um, no, but at the end of the day, I think, if you're gonna go back and you don't, you don't. That's my answer to that question. You don't go back and say, I would have done this differently. I
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
had
mm-hmm.
AVE tokens when it would have been, if I held it for another week, it would have been another $30,000, $40,000. Like I've had sand tokens where it could have been multi-million dollars. At the right now, I'm full disclosure, I'm sitting on like $800 worth of crypto. Not because I don't want to hold crypto, but because I got a house. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
um, you make sound decisions when you can, and you don't look back and think what if, because if you look back and think what if, you're torturing yourself, right?
Mm-hmm,
You're y-
mm-hmm.
and that's the worst thing that you could possibly do. You just do what you can do in the moment, and you continue to build and you continue to produce things that are going to be investments in the future. At the same time as I have my house, I've got lands in multiple different unreleased games, because those things will continue to produce nice passive income for me in the future.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
that's, when you're building in the sandbox game, you're producing a nice passive income for yourself in the future. And you can, it's weird to say you can live in the Web3 space. I was
Isn't it
literally
though?
thinking about the other day when I watched the Star Atlas press release or something where they did a 30-40 minute video. And the very end of the video, it said that they were going to introduce politics into the game. And I was like, huh, leadership, like in the metaverse. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. Like what steps does it take to lead, to build into that leadership in, considering all the things that we know about DAOs today? What can we do to set the benchmarks for getting to that point in the future?
So think has a chance of surviving is what Game Dizzy's wondering.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
it.
yeah, I think Starless will personally, but go ahead, please.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, the do you think it has a chance of surviving, Dizzy? I don't know if whether you're talking about the Sandbox game, you're talking about any other metaverse. As long as they continue to focus on the fundamentals, I think it absolutely not only has a chance of surviving, but it has a chance of thriving. When we built everything that we have built so far for the council, we went to the drawing board and we thought about what is the fundamentals of business that makes a thing make sense, right? Like you must have a good 5 to 10% of your business that is focused on marketing and continuing to allow people to move forward. Seeing Dizzy forwarding on that, saying Star Atlas specifically because of FTX. They weren't overly vested in FTX, and what they did as a response to that, I don't know if you saw, but they've been selling ships on their website for 80% off, um,
Nice.
with a slowly decelerating percentage discount. So this week it's 70% off until it gets down to like 50% off, and then the sale will cut off at a total of 5 weeks. And so that's going to get quick cash, because that's really all you need as a business. You need a little bit of quick cash so that you can fund your people to work for the next year, and then you can move forward. And they have really strong fundamentals, and they've had really strong tokenomics. They just made a mistake about where they put their money to begin with. And that's one of those things where even sometimes as a business, you have to look back and say, not your keys, not your crypto, you know, like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and that's why as a business sometimes you can look at crypto as the right thing, but you also have to understand that, it's a 40-20-40 sort of split on how you need to divide your money. You have your high risk investment, which is your 40% that's going into whatever it is, and you have your 40% that's going into straight cash in your local denomination, wherever your business operates out of, right? Cash, many of us in the crypto industry, we want to move out of fiat currency. We don't like it, we don't want it. But at the end of the day, it's the mode of transit of all operation. So if we can use that if we can use that fiat currency for now until it gets to being, US dollars crypto, until it gets to being non-existent and it's all Bitcoin or it's all Ether, it's whatever. We got to use that. We got to use that method to stay safe for now, so that we don't collapse and we can continue to pay people so they can keep eating and keep living. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
absolutely.
think it's going to survive. It's not just going to survive. I think it's going to thrive. It's the first Unreal Engine 5 game that's ever existed on crypto. It's You've seen Eve Online. Eve Online has thrived for years. It's still
Yep,
going.
yep.
You're still seeing random stories come out where it's like some guy lost $2 million worth of their subscription payment, whatever, in space. So yeah, I
Yep,
mean,
very
but
true.
that story is true throughout all of these metaverse spaces. It's not just, of course, Star Atlas. It's the Sandbox game. It's whatever. You stay true,
Yeah.
smart to the fundamentals, and the Sandbox game has done that. We hold a good reserve as the Sandbox game in fiat currency, just for the purpose of not having to go like, well, finance collapsed,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
whatever it may be.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've always mentioned, that because Animoca and everyone who's involved in it aren't newbies to business, and you can tell.
Right.
And like how, and like for instance, Star Atlas, I'm sure whoever's in charge of that isn't necessarily a newbie. And like how you're saying, when you can show a positive anything through the door that has at least thousands on it, like you'll get someone to finance you if you have to.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
and so yeah, I'm sure Star Atlas is going to be just fine. And the fact that they're even in the Epic store, they could probably find money too. Just so there's all these positives, um, things like that happen. And and to me it shows a good grassroots attitude with something like Star Atlas to do that as their fundraiser, as opposed to go to lending apparatus right away. And
yep.
and I would say that Star Atlas is a victim, like more than they kind of like, oh, that was a shitty move, they're crypto geniuses. No, it's more like, dude, FTX was fraud. They committed fucking fraud, and they lied to people. So shame on
Yep.
them, not on anyone else whose project is hurting right now. Um,
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think is interesting about this space right now. And this is what a bull market versus a bear market really is. Because in a bear market, you absolutely unequivocally you shake out the mess, right? You always are going to just shake them out. And this is not the first company who's done this, whether it's FTX or it's somebody else, right? We can go all the way back to like Mount Gox and getting hacked and doing all these things. You always shake out the BS on the downside of where Bitcoin is, right? And that like
mhm.
2 out of the 4 years, there's some BS that's got to go away. So I think you're getting that's one of the good things about the Sandbox game. That's one of the good things about like good fundamental games. If you're looking at play to earn, is you're seeing the companies that don't disappear right now. So if
Mhm.
we're in the
Mhm.
downside of a market and you see a company not disappear, that's when you go like, okay, they got their shit together. I'm going in on this today,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I'll see you in 2 to 4 years or whatever when everything's up only. You know?
Yeah, great point. That is a fantastic point. I mean, because like I said, I mean, a lot of, and I don't blame, like, the lay user, because they may not be have been in a business environment, And when you're in a business environment, like you see like a lot of positives where other people wouldn't necessarily see that. Like we were mentioning, like here's a plus positive on their ship sale. So I'm sure that
Mhm.
I've seen Twitter posts about all these ships that people are buying, so they're getting some money in. Um,
Yeah, I
and,
think,
that, and
well,
yeah,
I mean, back to the point that Game Dizzy's mentioning, saying my only concern was why would they keep 50% of their funds in an exchange? Unfortunately, with FTX, you're looking at, like, if you only looked at the fundamental of the company, right? You had a guy whose parents, both of his parents, were lawyers that managed like exchanges. They did legal for stock exchanges. So you would think that that guy would be the guy you could invest in. The guy was doing panels for Congress, being like, "Why is crypto good?" And he was like, "Oh, crypto's great," and he's the guy, right? Um, so it make now 50% not smart fundamentally, but all of those things are not generally disclosed. So it doesn't matter really what company you're looking at; those things aren't going to be disclosed. And in this particular instance, it was somebody you could trust and you wanted to be able to trust, and you would trade some of your funds to make sure that you're paying for the people who work at your company, but generally you don't oversell your funds so that your token dumps, right? It's just kind of standard business of what you want to do if you're doing things correctly. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know. I don't work there, but I also don't see anything necessarily wrong with what they did. I think it's just they trusted the wrong person and sort of an unfortunate circumstance.
yeah, absolutely. Like I said, they are a victim in this instance. It's like, hey, that was their choice. It's their money, their choice in that sense. And yeah, there was fraud that was committed in the sense that these people represented themselves as being some kind of stable entity, when that obviously didn't happen. And we know that this
Yeah.
happens, in especially in American business history. And yeah, there is this little group of like the Wall Street people who do this kind of thing, and they try to do Wall Street tactics on in cryptocurrency world. And like I've made the point on the stream before, it's like, well, it happened. Like, say, if you or I, Joseph, said, sure, we'll buy you a Bitcoin, give me your $16,000, and then we didn't do that, and then they complained, what would happen to us? So it's like, yeah, the fact that this guy hasn't been swatted means he's one of them, okay? Because his parents were part of this.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm 100% with that. Like, I'm confused as to why. Like, I asked Conrad earlier, we were in a call, and I was like, "Why isn't this man locked up right now?" Like, and somebody who was in the call was like, "Well, he's in the Bahamas," and I was like, "I don't give a
Yeah,
shit. Like, why
yeah,
is he not locked
yeah.
up?" But at the end of the day, obviously, somebody brought up the point, like, well, he's still a guy who can get some clicks, can get some hits, and maybe I really doubt it, but maybe he didn't know what was going on. Maybe he didn't know what was
I,
going on in
I
his
kind of
accounting
think he could be
department.
a
The
useful
people
idiot
were
too.
moving
Yeah.
stuff around. I doubt, hard doubt on that. As a CEO, that's your job to be aware of those sorts of things. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's a small blip, and that's the whole like value of crypto. Is like this guy. When you look at Bitcoin in general, when you look at ETH in general, like despite all their holdings, and despite the fact that they had to try to sell all their holdings to like hold up FTT, at the end of the day, Bitcoin is still holding at what it costs to mine it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it does that, then ETH gets held up because Bitcoins and ETHs are traded. They have a nice trading pair. So when that fundamental shows in the cryptocurrency, it only shows the strength. That's why you see people like I was watching a Bloomberg thing the other day where this nice lady, I forget her name, she's like a lady in her 60s or whatever. She's a very strong financial analyst, goes Bitcoin 20, 30 million bucks, you know? And so I see that, and you think about Bitcoin goes up, ETH goes up, and exchange sand goes up, and any other token that's traded for ETH goes up. You would have seen, like where we are now is early, despite the fact that, of course,
Yep.
it seems
Absolutely.
like we've been here a couple of years. Maybe it's late, but it's not. It's
No.
like we're so immature. A company like FTX has transitioned into FTX's collapse has forced Binance to say, I'm going to fully disclose what assets we hold at any given time. That's growth. That's organic growth. in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're seeing exchanges come out and fully disclose what assets they're holding at any given time, you know that the assets that you deposited into that exchange didn't just go into the void and get traded for some BS on high risk trades. So, that's what you want to see. I think you're going to
Yeah,
see that.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree because that's the nature of blockchain. I mean, and I mean that's one of the things that like I keep saying, like everyone has to be okay with seeing what you're doing, and how one of the big misnomers about money laundering and all this other stuff like goes. It's kind of like you can track the transaction. It's like you kind of don't necessarily want like a record when you're doing illegal shit. So it's not
Yeah.
that is any maybe it was before, like yeah, absolutely in the beginning, yes, drugs and guns and shit funded crypto, absolutely, and then gambling, okay,
Sure. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
and then
Well, that's
gambling,
actually,
and
I just want to point that out as
yeah.
a thing that I think is really funny, right? For me personally, um, when I see people come in and they say like, "Oh, I don't really like the idea of KYC," that stuff makes me laugh, right? Because when you look at what the blockchain is, it's already fully disclosed. The moment that you send from your wallet to something that can turn into US dollars, everything behind that is fully disclosed, right? So when people are like, oh, I don't like the idea of KYC, it's like go to Monero, go figure out, I don't know, like go figure out some place where you can transact with obfuscation, because it doesn't exist here. And so yeah, you can always be assured that what you do in cryptocurrency is above board, in the sense that if you did something that was illegal, they know. Doesn't matter. Pick a country.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm,
obvious.
mm-hmm.
They just need to be wanting and willing to commit resources to it. So
Exactly.
you can't do shady stuff. It's very easy.
Yeah, and most people aren't worth enough fucking money, so don't worry, okay? Like,
Yeah. Right.
yeah, that's exactly, and with the KYC thing comes up quite a bit, and like how I mean, obviously there's no 100% guaranteed system, but I think that's one of the things that I think you can tell whatever system the Sandbox has got going on revolving around KYC and minimizing bots. I think it has been fairly successful all overall because, like how I mentioned, I think it was even yesterday on stream or something like that, where it's like if it was my job to cheat at these things, like even just for fucking fun, because that's what I do. Like, yeah, you're damn right. I'd have a robot probably that would control an actual keyboard and da da da, or at least have it wired into it where the computer thinks it's a person. You know what I mean? Maybe even a fake webcam feed if I need to, if that's what I need to do, just to see if it works. Because and as a developer, I can see how this is possible. You know what I mean? And so the
Right.
fact that the Sandbox has been able to obviously minimize this quite a bit, is really a huge effort. And yeah, and so I think that this is kind of an interesting thing, like from the point of view of Web3 security. I mean, is this something that you see kind of being really bolstered more for, like, say, the Sandbox as much as they can in the future? Is this like something they do commit a fair amount of resources to?
Well, I think, yeah, for sure, we committed a huge amount of resources as a sandbox game to anti-cheat, anti all of dupe. I mean, you could see that from the way that like the leaderboards came out. The leaderboards came out first. The initial distribution of sand came out as it did in season 2, right? Which resulted in a lot of noise. There was a lot of people going like, wait, this guy had this and that and that and that. And then all of a sudden, like, we see those sorts of things and go like, oh, with relation to the leaderboards, we're going to triple down on this. And yeah, it's going to be a delay. But at the end of the day, people who are using 2 accounts, they're gone, right? Like, people who have KYC'd multiple accounts, and at the end, what really came of that is like we found that people were trying to like use Telegram to get multiple people to sign up for them for a quick cash and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up getting banned. But there's always going to be a certain percentage of that, because everybody at the end of the day is humans on the other side, and you want to try to realize that like certain people, um, like maybe you and your, significant other, or and like your 3 kids, maybe you're all playing. I don't know, and you're all adults, and
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
do apply to the TOS. So you want to make sure that like that's possible while at the same time realizing what multi accounting is. what it
Hmm.
really
Hmm.
is. So there's, when you can minimize it to, I would say on average, like maybe five possible maximum, then I think you have a perfect system. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be some flaws, some error. And for what we have done, the amount of additional work, stress, and strain that I personally incurred, uh, I can say that there was a hell of a lot of work put in. And because I know there were people who worked an additional like 40 hours a week over what I did
Wow.
to make sure that the leaderboards were legit. Uh, and I already added like a 40-hour week, to my regular work week to make sure that things were clean, good, and fun. So yeah, I think the future for sure is bright, going into season 4 and forward. I think you're looking at less of this sort of thing. But I don't think there's ever going to be a point necessarily where it's a total zero, where you would
Hmm.
see
Hmm.
that. But that's because there's always going to be somebody new, and maybe some new tool. But we can always continue to X out that tool and get as many new people in there as possible, as many legitimate users as possible. Like the land sale that we had was super successful. Um, in that regard, I think I saw more people
Hmm.
than
Hmm.
ever that were familiar usernames that said, "I did get a land and I can build on it," than I've ever seen. So hopefully, we'll see some more of those kinds of procedures and policies that apply to leaderboards. If, quite frankly, if leaderboards even exist, maybe leaderboards was a bad idea. We're taking the feedback now, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that too. I figured there wouldn't be any like official like ruling on that, but I mean, me personally, I'm more of like a fan of like completionist rewards in that sense because that kind of shows at least you went through everything more than like, hey, how fast can you click E? Um, but
Yep.
and either way, like the efforts that have been done were I mean, because now to me, like how I mentioned on stream here too, like I didn't complete the entire map. It was probably like maybe like 92 to 95% complete. I did things relatively fast, but I didn't necessarily go back and do the speed run through certain things. And now I kind of figured just because I've played a lot of different games over the years, like usually if you do a certain percentage output, you are in one of the top percents there if you're actually kind of consistent. And so I kind of figured if I
Mm.
put about that, I would probably be around 10,000 ish. And so when all was said and done, I actually did end up like 9,100 and something. Um, and so in that sense, like that does seem like the right metric because like how I know you play Rocket League, right? Like a
Yeah.
high,
Yeah.
and so how you've seen these statistics of user proficiency, and so to me it seems like that curve was starting to form, and just getting the feedback from the audience too. Like there was some I'm like, how did that happen, dude? Were you not using the same account like when you were streaming? Like, I don't understand how this person didn't get on the 10,000, but
Yeah. Yeah.
something like
Well,
that.
so it's interesting that you talk about metrics, right? Because there are a lot of metrics and there's a lot of back end stuff. But the there clearly, if you just did all the quests, if you just did every quest, you were getting into 10K. But um, season 2 versus season 3. Season 2, we average play time for a single consecutive session was about 35 minutes or so. Season 3 was about an hour and a half, right? So in terms of like the idea of
Mm-hmm.
keeping people engaged, it seems like the leaderboards did indeed keep people more engaged. But are they engaged purely for a financial reason, or are they engaged because it's a high quality game? And I think, when you lend yourself to like Rocket League, you say Rocket League. I brought it up on the stream because I have a good, I don't even know, 2,000 hours. I could pull it up right now. One second, let me check.
Nice.
2,154 hours in Rocket League
Hell
since
yeah.
it came out. Crazy amount of time playing that game. I don't make a dime, right? The game's fun. So if we can make fun and engaging high quality content and we get people to sustain that long term consecutive playtime versus what you see right now, which is maybe, I think, people who are interested in the earning mechanics more so than the gameplay mechanics. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
no worries.
Wow, it's really late. It's 4:30 a.m.
It is 4:30 in the morning. You're doing great. I can't tell you're slowing down at all. And but yeah, and I think that also introduces another element, a competitive element in the leaderboard scenario of people who maybe aren't necessarily in it for the cash, but just for the competitiveness of being in that top time.
Sure.
That aspect, and that's generally who you're seeing, who's the real users, who might not even ever played Sandbox, but they heard speed contests and that's their thing. So you
Sure.
have, and
Yeah.
those are the people who place, because they're the ones who actually do things just like that. Um,
Mhm.
I like I said, I do think that overall, like how, like you were mentioning, I can see how it's probably a little bit of all the columns there in terms of like some people just wanted the rewards, some people the timing thing, and the other part was the content too, because there was substantially more content. Like how at one point during the alpha, are people saying, "Oh, Alpha 2 is so much better." I'm like, dude, I don't think you remember. We were hanging out in like the 4 social hubs because there was nothing else to do. Like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. And that
oh.
and that's it, right? Is it was like Alpha 1 having literally closed down and said you can't play anything else, and Alpha 2 being like it's open, but there was a handful of games and most of them were single player and you want to interact with other human beings, right? So I think Alpha 3 opened it up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha gave you it gave you a lot of opportunities to do stuff that maybe was more engaging to you. Like personally, I could have probably hung out in every Steve Aoki experience all day because for me, um, you know, I criticize text all day in the chat. When I'm doing the
That's true.
GMAE show, I always make sure I grammar check everything because that's the storyline engagement. But when I go to an Aoki experience, I get the audio engagement. And of course, when it comes to like season 4 or season 5, audio engagement is probably going to be even more so. Um,
Ah, cool.
One of the new jobs in the metaverse may be very well voice acting
Oh,
and
absolutely.
not
Yeah.
text
And
acting.
music. Yeah.
Um, but also you're probably going to see the text and you're going to see the voice come with it. I would guess based on the way that the culture is right now that you're already drawing up scripts and you're typing things in manually. But I think that's why I was drawn to the Aoki experience because the audio was great. I happen to really just love the way that he produces music. But now, where does that go in the future? That's going to be a shift from one season to the next. Um, but yeah, I mean, if I was to choose personally how I would change, and I have almost no impact on this, mind you, how I would change the play to earn mechanics going into the next season, I would basically just drop all play to earn on the leaderboard, make it almost insignificant, and people
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't because the I like the idea of the leaderboard. I like the idea of knowing that like the people are competing and they're playing, for a time. But I think that should just be fun. I think it
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be something, because I had some users who had sent me DMs and they said like, "This is literally how I pay for my family to eat," and it was like, man, that's depressing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if that mechanic could exist, if we could pay for somebody to eat in another way that's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
more sustainable and less gambly, I would
Yep. Yep.
say, then I think that would be better, personally. But you know, and
Yeah.
Beasting saying quests were not designed with speedrunning in mind. I 100% agree with that. But at the same time, do we want to design quests with speedrunning in mind?
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
because many games that will ever be made, your games that are going to get made, aren't going to be made to go do them fast and skip all the text and skip all the gameplay, essentially. Because that's all you're going to do when you speed run. You're just going to skip absolutely everything. People who are playing Mario 64 right now are not reading the text.
Yeah.
They're
True.
just
Very true.
and they're off and they're jumping through the wall. You know, so yeah, I feel like it does take away part of the experience. You say,
Yeah, and I think that's a fair enough idea. I mean, because like there is the memorabilia thing now, because I think that would almost be like a great kind of, sort of alternative. And then because like you're saying, like is it detracting from the overall experience? And I think that like how players probably do see it more fair if you're able to do go off, say, like how much did you participate? You know what I mean? And
mm-hmm.
then and I think that like how you're saying with, because I mean how you're saying, the kind of depressing in the sense that someone was like, fuck man, I wanted this money to like eat. And at the same time, it's there's a little glimmer of hope in there because like with the NFTs, it's almost possible. And so that's one of the
Right.
things that
Well, that's it. That's it.
yeah.
Exactly. Is it's like I want to open that person up to this idea that you can build in Voxset and you can build in the game maker and you can feed the family on that, right?
Mhm.
Like you can create stuff. And because there is like it's still the tiniest box. That whole alpha, the 90 plus experiences is it's the tiniest box compared to what the metaverse actually is, compared to what the sandbox will be. And so, that whole space right there is one of the like 20 estates that Atari owns. They need people to build in those spaces. You know,
Oh yeah.
that whole space is the Snoop Dogg whenever they launch some kind of season of content or whatever it may be. The whole space is the Adidas land that they bought, you know, that it just has to be built. And, most of these people who are coming in and they're playing and they're earning while they're playing, or they're saying, I need to feed my family. Like, well, yeah, make something in Vox Edit, win a single contest, and then go reach out to any of those developers. You're gonna get yourself a lot more money than the 1,000 sand that you could get from
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I tell people too, because like how, there the time is probably around already if you know where to go, but like it's definitely gonna be more blatant. Where if you're a capable individual who has motivation to create in a digital environment and are willing to learn, you'll be able to probably get an entry level building position because of so much stuff that has to happen. You'll get
Yep.
instructed. You just need to make this light pole. You know what I mean? This
Right.
tile. You know what I mean?
Now
Yeah.
I want to step out to Karatraz's comment because I think this is
By all means.
important and it's correct. Saying, haha, win a contest, it's not that easy. Absolutely. It's not that easy, right? But as you just said right there, you don't need to be a contest winner to get a job. It's a little check mark on your box, right? But there's lots of different avenues that you can do to do that. If you are working for Sandstorm, if you get a single contract in Sandstorm, right, you've got money right there. Um, and they have a vetting process of their own. If you make something that doesn't win a contest, but you've got, excuse me, 5, 10 good renders, right? That are similar themed that work with that company, you're going to get work. So if you see somebody come in and they say, "Oh, this person has just been announced as the Sandbox game partner," then build stuff around products that they own. Render those things in Light Tracer and get it out there. And
Yep.
say, "There you go."
Absolutely.
And Vox Magna is saying there's some in the Creator Fund that haven't won any contests too, and that's true. You can that those same principles apply to getting into the Creator Fund. Um, you really just have to be willing to put in the work
Yep.
and put yourself out there and be okay. And Game Dizzy, who is part of, I forgot that you are part of that Game Dizzy. But saying we get more and more people in, we're trying to get more people in the marketplace to get some dollars for everyone. That's true. You want to have
Mm-hmm.
more professionals who can be in that marketplace so that vendors like Adidas can come in and say, "Hey, I need somebody to work, and I know where to go to get workers that are good." You know. Um, so yeah, it's really just about creating stuff and not being afraid to fail. Um, when I worked as an account executive a couple of years ago, before the Sandbox game, one of the things that I learned right away was that even with clients that you already have, only 1 out of 10 is going to buy new product. And among clients that you don't have, 1 out of 100 people is going to buy product. You'll get out of 100 people, you'll get 10 people who are interested, one people that's going to buy at the end of the day, right? So just keep shilling yourself, keep
Yep.
making product, keep promoting that product. Let people know that you exist. And it's okay when they say, I'm not interested because there's more people out there. 166,000 lands, lots of people to build for, lots of work
Oh,
to be done.
absolutely. And then how we haven't even really talked about the projections into like the the evolving market because even as player, there's more players than there will ever be landowners, right? But then all of
Right.
those players at one point are probably going to want custom stuff for themselves, and some of them aren't going to want to build it. Like, so there's going to be a whole other like
Yeah, they're gonna
secondary
have no
economy.
idea how to build it. And when they
Yeah.
can say, I can get an artist, somebody who knows how to make inbox edit that can
Hmm.
manage to mint, they're not gonna want to know how blockchain tech works. They're gonna want to know how to get sand and sell sand.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And if they
Yep.
can get sand that makes that cool armor that they wanted, then cool, great. Get your custom armor here, whatever. You can make all kinds of sales with that. It's one out of one. Nobody
Yep.
else will ever own it. You just make it on the fly, publish it, boom.
Exactly. So yeah, there is a lot of hope. I mean, in terms of going forward, and I think that the fact that even that someone messages you and has been able to achieve like what they have in somewhat desperation shows how fast this economy is growing in general, because of like it's only been a handful of years here that Sandbox has been active, and it shows how like this is like we're saying the beginning. So like I'm looking forward to like the lives that are being changed. I mean, I know like Vox Machina in the studios here. I know you probably might start blushing, but good example is someone who where the sand stretches, right? The value of sand stretches in his region, and he's been able to take his success and help his community, and with
Yeah.
sand, and it's like I'm hearing these things and I'm like, wow, this is like amazing, and I know even with the stream here, like trying to get the NFTs going to where like hopefully maybe I can throw enough NFTs at people so maybe this can help them in their region too, where it's like $1 to me, but that dollar goes way further if over there. And I mean even today we're still gonna do the giveaways, don't worry. Like how just being able to hand out like I'm like here's $80, like the Helldozer. It's like I can't just give you $80 right now, but with the NFTs we can. And this is one
Sure.
of the things that's awesome. I love that part. I can't wait till UGC is more open, or even like Creator Fund people can mint some stuff here and there. I don't know, whatever that happens in terms of like we give a little more of a green light or something, um, because it's going to be not just a great time for the Sandbox. It's going to be a great time for a lot of people in this space on a personal level, I think. Um, but yeah, and and Voma China, yeah, good old Voma China. But yeah, I remember there was that saga of Vox and everyone trying to figure out how to pronounce his name, and so I just kind of started once in a while calling him Voma China. So
Nice.
yeah,
I immediately recognized it as like that Dungeons and Dragons show they got going on Twitch. They had like three different groups, and their middle group, which is all the same voice actors, professional voice actors, they did it. Um, they called themselves Vox Machina, so I was immediately like, "Yep, all right, I know what you're trying to be."
yeah, definitely. And I mean, this has really actually been pretty awesome conversation here, and I know that you're running on fumes, so I can only imagine, if we
Yeah.
if we
Not only that, but like I have spent most of today with a stomach ache. I've been sick for like the last
oh
three
man,
days. My wife is like almost like deathly ill. She never calls out of work. She's a teacher and she's been sick on the couch, just doesn't even move for the last couple of days. So
oh
yeah,
man.
this is it's a lot, but also having a good time. It's a good chat, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you for your time and making yourself available even to obscure streams in the middle of the night, Pacific Pacific Standard
Yeah.
Time.
It's almost wake up time. The sun's coming up soon.
Oh man, actually that's so sweet. Let's we're talking about the giveaways. Let me try to get that going in some like we're gonna do marbles because that's what we do here. And like how we're talking about like giveaways and randomness and stuff like that. I think this is one of the better ways because like ultimately like it is an RNG and you're seeing all of the names, all of everything that's going on there. So we're gonna pause our stream avatars here for a while. But but that's one of the things I know the comments in terms of even Sandbox giveaways. Like I mean, like how managing a stream isn't that easy. I mean, I think that obviously the GMAE team
Yeah.
makes it look easy, um, and such, and like even doing RNGs. Like okay, I'm just letting everyone know. Like on Twitch, right? Like the Nightbot ones, like you can literally set a bias on those. Like so, I can set it to where like right now that I can make sure that like my subscribers win. Like just
Wild.
FYI.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I literally
Um,
pull up I type RNG in Google, and it pulls me up a random number generator. That's how I do it. And I
hmm
just pull a number. I don't even think about it. There was one time where I wasn't sure if I clicked the go button and it might have rolled a one. And I felt bad about it. So I don't do that anymore. I do like one to whatever. And if it's number two, then two is one. And I go like I add an extra number to the end. But oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so it's and this is kind of where like how people say, oh, the giveaways should be a little bit more public. It's kind of like, why, dude? And it's like, and plus you're gonna give everyone's okay. Okay. I'm sure you remember this, Joe, right? And just by the way, chat, the map voting is open, so feel free. We're gonna do 5 races, and so we're gonna give out 5 items for each winner of the race, and then the Grand Prix. I'm gonna make the Grand Prix item this time the Lambro. Um, so either way, feel free to vote on that. But I'm sure you remember this, right? Because remember in a lot of these chats in the Web3 space, everyone would be posting their wallets. They'd say, post your wallet in the chat. And then why do we stop doing that? Because of bots. Okay, so now if you're going to flash the Sandbox's entry on stream to say, these are all the people who have joined our giveaway, like, do you think all that's like someone's not going to exploit that? That's kind of why you don't want to show their thing.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I have my personal email whenever I sign into the game client. If I do it live, my personal email shows up on the screen, and my personal email today has like 19,000 emails in it. Junk, garbage. I
Wow.
get emails that are just like, buy your new house with a bunch of like asterisks around it, and I'm like, this trash. So how did I even get this? And I know how I get this, right? So I don't want to go through and like show all of your emails, all of your real names, whatever it is that I have on that form, right, up on the screen and be like, this is user number 36. Like, I just kind of go with the mindset that hopefully at this point y'all can trust me, like that I'm not trying to give away anything to anybody, and I don't like for the most part, like 99% of the people who are in the chat, I've never met you, I've never seen your face. Many of you, I've seen you on live streams, I've rated you, what have you. Um, but when I see a name that I'm familiar with, I'm like, heck yeah, a name I'm familiar with. And hopefully you can see that it's genuinely me being excited about seeing a name I'm familiar with. But yeah, never in my life has it ever been rigged. There was one time where I rolled a name of somebody that I knew them like from a Discord and was like, there's no way that ever happened. But other than that, there's never been like a real one where I was like, well, somebody might think that's rigged, but never in my life. Never in my life. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's whizzies. It's stuff that we produce regularly, and have fun with doing. And I want to give them to as many people as humanly possible, many people who can have some fun. So
Yeah, definitely. I happened to be there that time when the Santa Wizzies went out. Um,
yeah.
yeah, no,
Oh,
that was awesome.
great. That was a
Yeah,
great
it
show.
was. Oh yeah, it was definitely one for the record books, man. And that Santa Wizzy, because I know they become available. They're great healers. Like the Santa Wizzy makes like a cameo in pretty much all my experiences as a healer, like some way, shape, or form, because it's just like boom, you're back to normal.
Yeah.
So
Type play. There we go.
And of course,
played in full caps. Hopefully that doesn't hurt.
no, it doesn't. You can actually, as long as it's exclamation point play and anything else after that, it enters you. Just a fun little trivia point there. And yeah, speaking of Wizzies, I mean, I know I'm looking forward to the Wizzyverse experiences and other things that are going to unfold there. So that'll be cool. Is that I'm just kind of curious? Is that going to be part of the Alpha 4, or we have to wait longer?
Yeah, that's not scheduled for 4, because we have other things possibly
Okay.
not finalized for 4. More so than putting out a Wizzyverse, we want to make sure we have a killer app.
Okay.
By a killer app, I mean a game that you want to play because it's fun.
Nice. Yeah.
So like a lot of people, like I've said it a lot of times, a lot of people want to play games because they can make some money. Let's make a game that they want to play because they want to have some fun. And if we can do that, then I think that's a genuine means of success.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that it is good to have like a sort of like its own ecosphere kind of created in these sort of independent IPs, because that's one of the things that, how I've mentioned, it's good to see so many of the different studios collaborating, because you have someone like Atari and Ubisoft, big hitters in the industry. And so, being able to band together as independents and kind of collaborate, it helps to the overall experience for all the users, and maintains that the higher level when framed against something like Rabbids, right? Because like the Rabbids stuff looked great, I thought.
Sure.
Yeah, and then how Rabbids comes from its own sort of universe already, and I think that that's great to hear that more and more of that Wizzyverse, so to speak, be it in an app or whatever, is all starting to take shape from different angles here. So it's very, very exciting. And so we have everyone for marbles. We're going to do last call. We have quite a few races. The first item, actually, let me go ahead and do that first. I'm going to show off what we're going to give. First giveaway is going to be for Bird. It's going to be this. Oh, not that thing I'm moving. This bird. Okay. Thunderbird. Creator Fund item. Let me go ahead and play the animation. I'll just do the idle one. And we can see it has lightning. It comes with lightning. Always fun.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is one of the items made. It was under the folklore theme that was, I guess, a couple of months now ago. And figured I'd do something for this from the Southwest here. So this is our first item for giveaway. Winner of this race, go and get themselves a bird. So, last call once again. Hope you're in here. Yeah, I think we are. We haven't seen the number change. Let's go and get this race started. And so, yeah, we like to do marbles. It's pretty fun. And like I said, it kind of solves that, upfront RNG kind of concern, right?
I mean, if I'm not winning, it's rigged. So.
That's true. Although, as a lot of our regulars
if I do
here,
win, it's rigged. So there it is.
Yeah, and if you do win, though, like this is where on this stream, like we call individuals such as yourselves wild card racers, and so we have a wild card. That means they're not here to take your prize, okay? Like that means whoever's next below them gets the prize, okay? Like or two in some instances. So yes.
If so don't where's your username? Show me the name. I saw somebody earlier. I want to call them out and say I got my webcam right in front of chat. So
I'll try to get you.
Let's say Jazzwolf's very helpful. Jazzwolf 24. If I win, you win.
Oh, we're losing marbles. We got Bee Sting, we got David, we got Vox
Machina. Can I fall off a cliff yet?
Not yet. No. There goes Huddle Hill and me. Maybe. Yeah. No, we're gone. But Huddle Hill does have the bee, so that works kind of good. Looked appropriate, floating through the sky.
Flying around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in 8th. All right, 7th, 6th. Yeah, easy game. I'm gonna win. It's already over. Maxie, I'm coming for you. I'm gonna catch you. I'm gonna
get for you. Exactly. Got DJ, Little Legion fighting out. They want the bird. They're like, give me that fucking bird. It's gonna fry up nicely. Oh,
I played this map the other day when I for the first time ever, I did marbles. Never tried it. Had no idea what I was doing. Did a marbles stream.
Nice.
Yep. And it worked out. Oh, hey, look at me in second. Look at that. Easy game. Just kidding. EJ is like a mile ahead of me, but statistically it showed me in second.
Yeah, it's a little quirk. I think it just measures the distance from the end, and so like if it curves or things like that is showing that.
Right.
Yeah. But
a little freaky.
Isn't it though? But I like Radcon Dad's little heart. That's nice. That's cute. And 322 confirmed. Jumped out and head. Out of nowhere.
I was literally looking for 322's name in the chat when I was gonna randomly meme about somebody else winning if I win. I was actually looking for 322, and then they fell off a cliff. Rip.
Yeah, that was a glorious fall, though, wasn't it?
That.
It looked fucking great, and that's what also counts to us in cheer points, not like actual, NFTs. But we still appreciate it.
Look at that. Easiest game of my life.
There goes Noble. Wow, there's a lot of marbles dying on this one today. Yeah, this is Devil's Chaos. It's a pretty fun one. I mean, yes, it is fairly treacherous, but there's some other ones, man. They're brutal. Little Legion, slow and steady. Although it wasn't too slow, really.
No
Uh-oh.
way. No way.
Uh-oh.
You're not allowed to win.
Here comes...
Stop it, Wicked. Stop it, Wicked.
Wait, that's Ghost Wicked. That's fake Wicked.
That's not even real?
Yeah, that's the fastest time Wicked.
What's happening?
That's
fastest ever. Fastest ever. Okay. Freaking out. Freaking out. Little Legion Orc.
Little Legion.
Easy win.
Takes the win.
That's in the game.
So now I get, there's your selling bird, Little Legion. Okay. Make some money off that bird.
It's a good crow. Good crow. You better keep that. I want to see that in a game, Little Legion.
I'm trying to get a hold of Avenged Sevenfold guys, because I think it would work great in their motif, but I kind of want to just like airdrop them.
The Avenged Sevenfold was not made by Avenged Sevenfold directly. That was made by Nabia. You want to know who made that game? Go check it out.
Oh yeah, because then I can be like, hey, we want a Thunderbird, because it'll go great in there, and win Mining Shack in the market, man. I want one of those.
They also made the World of Women experience, not the World of Women Galaxy, but the World of Women art exhibit.
Batman, want to let us know.
Can't believe I got second. It's rigged. Little Legion, you're a hacker. I don't like it.
That does put you in contest for the Grand Prix. So, but wow, that was worth 142 points, Little Legion. That's some good points there, and you got 103. Joseph. Blue Tulip with 69. Yolks on You with 53. So.
Why does third place get 69 points? They need to be third place now.
Just luck, I guess, pretty much. Or it was rigged. I don't know. I can't tell. You might have to hit play again, Keeper, because it's the enemy at the gates. You know how the animation has to play out. Okay, anyone before I am Bengali, do exclamation point play again. I blame our colleagues over at Blaze Games.
Your message was identical to the one you sent within the last 30 seconds.
Oh, if you hit space, it'll go through.
It didn't. It says nah, dog.
Okay, hit player, exclamation point player, and it'll work.
You have to like
there it goes.
Lose it and then do it again. Rigged. Twitch chat. Why are you mad at me, bro? Why are you mad?
Not enough fucking F-bombs today. That's why. Okay. I was saying.
Here it is. Is that what we do here? Is that what we do?
All the time.
Chat? We just
fuckity fuck. Yes.
Because listen, it's 4:58 a.m. and I'm not afraid to say a fuck. All right.
Good. We have
I'm
to.
not afraid. All right.
The audience demands it. So wait,
chat.
Okay.
I don't know if this is appropriate for this live stream.
But, I'm sure it is.
It's 4:58.
Nice. We got Radcon Dad's fancy marble.
You gotta get in the good marbling.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can't even spell right now. Don't even worry about it. Sold that. Sold that. All right.
We seen Jazzless, right, with the fancy wolf on it. Look at that.
That's freaking awesome.
Isn't it though?
I'm mad about it.
And then Wicked and Nekion.
I don't get these cool things. I haven't even explored the world of marbles at any point.
Oh man, I gotta show you my car then. Look, check out my car. My little car. And then that's a black hole with an alien in it.
What the freak, dude?
Yeah.
You just get to have a car around your marble. This is some BS.
Maxie usually has really. Wait, where's your stuff, Maxie? Oh, Maxie has some fancy stuff too.
Gotta
usually
have some aerodynamics on it.
You'd hope, right? But you'd be surprised how many times I fall off the map. Especially when it's worth something. I guess let me show what our next prize. This is courtesy of Batman and crew. I'm going to show the OpenSea so you can see the legit links. What it looks like. This is the Goblin Battle cards. So we got King Crypto, Batman and company. I know Karatros is part of that team as well as other teams, but gonna get some Goblin Battle cards winner of this one. We have some fun prizes this time. We even have one more racer. Look at that. That's great. Um, so, and yeah, this is one of those that Batman. If Batman wins, obviously that's a wild card win. So, but odds are pretty good that someone else besides Batman's gonna win. And if it doesn't matter because, like I said, you're gonna win anyways. So, because yeah, that's one of the things here, Joseph. I often say, especially as we're going forward with these NFTs, like I don't want my regular everyone in the chat here right now to be fighting over my shit. Like, here's
Yeah,
one.
for sure.
Maybe here's one, and then we gotta get other people to buy stuff. It's gonna be great.
Right, I feel like I gotta update this OG. I feel like I gotta update your emoji. I wanna make like a nice, legit anime version of
Okay.
that
All right.
emoji you have there.
All right. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, that's
I'll
the
work.
general Joseph
I'll work.
Chiro emote. Yes. Yeah.
Make
And
an
I'll,
anime version. I'm making a note for myself. This is
all
some
right.
bullshit. I gotta
And, and
say.
and you see how like what I called it? I call it TSB Joe knows, because we know you know.
Oh yeah.
You know stuff. You know it. You know. Just like it's Radcon, yeah. Because you want Conrad's approval. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I don't know if you saw Take on Conrad, but there is a Take on Conrad GIF, and
Yeah, I see it. I see
yeah,
it.
this is paying homage to mutual supporters here, of course, and we'll evolve, and you heard it here. We're gonna have an updated Anime Joe emote at some point here. So,
Do you have the original of that screenshot?
oh yeah,
So I can
absolutely,
like,
yeah,
keep it down there. All right.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we can keep it consistent. We can keep the brand consistency. All good.
Mhm.
So all right, I think we got everyone in for this race. So let's do another one, shall we? It's already getting too late. Sorry, Joe. This is going a little over. We'll try to clean this up.
It's all good. Listen, I popped one, right? I opened it up.
Nice.
I'm here. I'm here for the
Nice.
show now.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Shit's getting real now.
Hell yeah. No, I woke up at 9 fucking p.m., dude. This is like this is my morning.
Good morning. Good fucking morning. All right.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I gotta move the thing. Hold on. I gotta move the web browser. Give me a second.
It's like, hey, we're
Sorry.
rolling. Also, the web browser's in the way. Get the fuck out of here. We don't do that. We don't need to see anything.
Yeah.
Right.
You thought you didn't like the RNGs before. Yukion.
The number of times I swear to you that I've been like, how do you, like, somebody has just joined the call and they've been like, can I be on the screen? I'm like, shit, you're fucking with my flow right now. Okay, let me change everything. Because the software that I use has, like, it's got it all. It's a mess. It is really hard to remember who's what and where and what it is. Everybody looks like server blades. It's wild. And I'm like, oh, that's you, and you want to be how big? Okay. And I'll make it happen. And it's insane. It's insane. And only one person in the Sandbox game has ever recognized the kind of stuff that I do. And I want to say, if and you're never gonna watch, I don't even know. I know you're a very busy person. You definitely thank you for recognizing the amount of work that goes into this, because it's fucking insane.
It is, yeah. It is, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Game dizzy. Game dizzy. Question about Star Atlas. How does one get? I'm sorry, I'm moving around my webcam as the text chat moves. How does one get space claims? Is it airdropped by owning ships? I've been looking online, but I couldn't find information about it. The only way you could possibly ever have gotten space claims, if they were distributed early, which is from buying in at the Rebirth event, which was the event that they had before they were anything. They were selling digital augmented reality posters that you could look at using a QR code and your phone and see it like do 3D effects. They were nothing. And I was like, I like this promise. I'm going to spend $128 on this thing,
Nice.
which, whatever. Uh, yeah. So beyond that, you can buy land like in the city in like a couple of weeks, I think. They have a thing going on. But otherwise, excuse me. Their like land claim for mining is in the future. More will unlock. And the good ones, to be fair, the good ones will unlock in the future. Like size 2, 3, 4, and 5 will unlock in the future. I just have a size 1 land claim, so not huge.
Cool. That's I mean that is a really interesting project. I actually have heard about it for a little bit, but it's kind of ambiguous for me. And not that I was like, oh, forget it, but I figured there was time for maturity, and I actually did run around for the first time recently. And Ikion Art is the winner this time of the Goblin Battle cards. Very cool stuff.
Goddamn right, Ikion.
So it was absolutely rigged though, and that was
no, I mean for sure, yeah, you could see it.
63 points.
Purple, that's what it is.
Absolutely, you gotta go with the purple. 44
points for a DNF, that's how you know it's rigged.
Absolutely. So, all right, let's go into our next one. We got Alienated. Oh, Alienated. And this one is common. This is a thing on my stream too. If you get abducted, there's some alien items that that will like to mint at some point, and this is gonna get free alien themed item if you get abducted by the UFO on this map as well. So there's an added future reward maybe for someone who doesn't win, but someday the UFO will come knocking into your wallet and you'll get some kind of voxely alien goodness. And speaking of something voxely goodness, our next prize gonna be for classic arcade cabinet. So this is actually the first item that I ever had minted in the Sandbox, and it is a little arcade game. As you can see, it kind of plays a little animation, Space Invaders like stuff, and it does have a bunch of different states. So you can have it kind of off completely and just on with the blank screen. You got just kind of doing a demo with no movement too. Things like that. So a lot little utilization in there, and makes a decent healer. 20 magic, So
that's at the end of the day. I finished with all the work. How do you heal? Video game. Right? That's how you do it.
Yep. And especially in the Sandbox, it's like there's a lot of innovative ways to do it that I think that have yet to be discovered, but yeah, and it's kind of fun. I've noticed that there's a lot of people like to do like a certain kind of arcade kind of decoration in a lot of their experiences. So yeah, kind of fun little item. I think that one was for the Pimp Your Home theme or something like that, the NFT drop that happened. And I forgot what the actual creator fund rules were, but I remember that one I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I think I could do a little arcade with a little animation, but I'm going to do it at the end of the month so I can have more time, and it carries over into the month after. And it's worked out pretty well. And it's cool how even just with that item, it's it obviously hasn't sold out, but even with the 20 sales, and I'm kind of like, how much sand is that anyways? And I'm like, oh, that's 420. That's sweet. But it actually does help. It's obviously that's not necessarily paying the bills, but it does allow for ventures, and I think that's one of the things, kind of surviving in this space in the sense of kind of how do you pay bills, feed stuff, and I managed to do it by maneuvering stuff because I've gotten enough coins now over time, and luckily my overhead's pretty low. But you can't sit on your coins too long if you want to get things done. Like how you're saying, don't regret what could have happened. You just kind of have to set your mark, do your buy or sell, and be good with it.
Yeah, that's it. When you make a decision, you have to be committed to that decision and go that was the best thing I could do for me at that time, instead of looking back and going, well, I could have done better in 2028. It's not important. You have to take care of yourself now.
Yeah, absolutely. And then some of the things that kind of I'd share little tips how if you're watching something and trying to get the sale price, and ask yourself, is the mental fucking round and round worth the maybe margin that you're looking at for the amount you're trading? Because if we're talking $1, who gives a shit? Just fucking sell it. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's another aspect that you could look at it as is like in your area, what is an hour of your life worth, right? Like, because the mental anguish, if it's going to take you 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, whatever, if it's not worth an hour of your time, then it's not worth doing. Just
Yep.
fucking do it.
Exactly.
Commit.
Exactly. Like this race. Let's go. We got an arcade up for grabs. And this one does have a fairly high mortality rate because not only do you have a rampant UFO issue, you have hazards, you have the basket moving at the end. So this
what
should
you're
be
saying is,
interesting.
if I don't win, it's fucking rigged.
Oh, absolutely.
Basically, it's basically. I heard it here, chat.
Absolutely. It's kind of hard to tell who's going to be out front here because once again, even if you get there fast, you might die. So.
Oh, look at all those people getting sucked up by a UFO. Sorry, DJ EJ.
Yeah. Oh, Karatros. Karatros doesn't mind being abducted. He's good with it.
Yeah, this is fine. This is totally fine.
Yeah. Oh no, we got some people jettisoned.
Oh. Normal business for Karatros. Just get abducted. Wait, what the hell? What? What? No! No!
Yeah, you got jettisoned. Off the map.
It's over for me, chat. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over now.
Oh, someone else getting abducted. Who else is getting abducted? Let's see. Oh, 322 confirmed. All right, 322. Be sure to whisper me your wallet, and that asset will be as soon as I mint it, which I have no idea which will be. But someday you'll get an alien thing in your wallet.
I'm disappointed. I'm not even mad. I'm disappointed.
Just like, I don't know what's going on anymore, man. It's just, like, why am I even doing this right now? I mean, it's not worth an hour of my time and everything, and.
Oh God! Damn it! Oh God! That's so. Thank you for saying that. That's very referential. I appreciate that, but this is 100% worth an hour of my time.
Yeah, no, thank you, really, Joseph. Thank you, really. That's just. Oh, Radcon Dad won.
Maxie saying
the
I've had a
Dizzy
losing
won.
streak the past 3 weeks on here. The pain gets worse. Listen, Rad Condad is a champion, and he'll win for you, Maxie. Don't worry.
Oh my God! Looks like I'm coughing up a few fucking arcades here, man. Because I know I'm pretty sure
what is going on? Why are they doing backflip 360 shits?
Because the basket moves.
A finish line. What is Conrad's Marble doing? He's won. Stop it! You're not Tony Hawk. Knock it off.
Okay, we have. This is a highly winning occasion here, man. Okay, because I'm pretty sure, Radcon Dad needs to be restacked anyway. I think he might have a classic arcade, but he needs to be restacked.
Tony Hawk. I don't know if he has an arcade machine. I don't think he does.
Yeah, Game Dizzy, gotta get one to Game Dizzy, and then of course Wicked ends up being our default winner. Because we only can't win our own items, just FYI. So I'm going to still hook our buddies up here with items. I'm making.
What is happening with this finish line? Oh, the finish line moves.
Yeah.
Holy rigged, you son of a bitch! No wonder he kept doing freaking 900s out here.
Yep, and that's what I mean by it doesn't necessarily matter how fast you are to the end on that one. You still could die.
I give it to the con man, bro.
Definitely with the heart.
Still waking up, bro. Like I ever slept? Have I ever slept in my life, beasting? Have I ever slept? Have I ever slept on you? Okay, I'm live. I'm on. I'm hot. I'm on fire.
And shit. Just a quick point of trivia. That's the third time Karatros has been abducted.
Really?
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. And don't forget, 322 confirmed. Please whisper me your wallet address for that future reward for being abducted too. Which will, like you see, like some of my regular viewers seen, like I have like an alien shirts that I've made. There's a little alien that pops out of this thing now. So those little aliens, you're gonna get one of these little aliens at some point.
Karatros is literally not even Yeah, they're not even human. They were always an alien. They're just going home, right?
Yeah, and Caratross is one of those creators, like we're saying, like who like just evolved and found themselves in the professional realm, probably maybe even faster than he realized. And I'm glad to see it. St. Maxi too. It's so cool seeing like so many of our friends here, like actually kind of, you can see that transition, living the Joseph dream, I sometimes call it, of buying a house with the crypto. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's wild. It's
Yeah.
wild. Chat, like the first year and a half that I was streaming for the Sandbox game, I was literally streaming from my living room. Why? Because there wasn't enough physical fucking space to have a computer and a green screen in any other room. So half my living room was taken up. My wife, she's like, I hate this. I'm like, it's my job. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you have to, like, it's this
Mm-hmm.
space is amazing for this. All right. We can do this. Everybody who's here right now can do anything that they want to do in this space. Great.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, in terms of it, it's possible. Like I said, you like what you've been able to parlay is a good example, and I know that the potentials and the ways to achieve that are becoming more numerous. You know what I mean? Like how
Yeah.
you got in the sandbox super early, positioned yourself good. And cause that's another thing people talk about too, like a certain level of favoritism. I kind of tell them, like, when you have an expansion rate like we're seeing, it's really about being in the right place at the right time, because it's like you need people to do certain things, and if that person is right there, says, yeah, I can do that, they're probably going to get a shot. um,
Right.
and but you have, and now in a more metaphoric way, you kind of have to do that too. So like how if you want sandbox money, you got to make a game, and then you got to apply for the game maker fund. Or you gotta
Mhm.
go, or if you want to make money in the arena, go to Sandstorm, sign up, start posting stuff. You know what I mean? Let people know that you're available for it. I mean, that's one of the things, even for myself, I realize I have to get better at saying, like, yeah, I can still take on more gigs right now. Like, I'm actually thinking about making like a gig meter, like an animated one that goes like, I'm available. No, fuck off. Okay, yeah, I'm totally available. You know what I mean? Something like that. Um, just to put on my stream. Um, because yeah, it's like it's in our mutual interest that this whole economy, the games, everything kind of go at a quality pace, shall we say? You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like what happened with the sandbox is happening all over the place too. So like I have a deep commitment to this community, I have a deep commitment to the people who are here, the regardless of whatever happens at any point, uh I want to be here and continue to help people grow here. At the same time, when you talk about what I mentioned earlier with your investments, like 40% cash, 20% like high risk, and 40% low risk investment, you want to continue to diversify your time in the same way. So, like the sandbox game can be your cash money maker now, but you also want to have that 20% high risk thing, the new thing that you're going to do, the new hotness,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that
Mm-hmm.
is. Right. And so when I talk about other platforms, like I'm vested in Ember Sword, I'm vested in Star Atlas, I'm vested in other projects all over the place that are in the gaming space because I see those as the same thing that the sandbox game is at its core. uh and they're different, they grow in like more niche categories, but they're all things that people desire. Like people have sponsored Star Citizen to the effect of $500 million,
Yeah,
and that
it's
game doesn't
amazing.
exist. Star Atlas is that, and like
Mm-hmm.
Diablo is like massive, and Ember Sword is that, right? And so when I
Yep.
see
Yep.
things that I know are already successful but want to do it in the blockchain, I'm going to put my money into that.
Exactly.
And I happen to really love gaming, so I find myself kind of pigeonholed into that sector. But it doesn't have to be that. If you see something that's fundamentally strong, it's not. Don't be afraid to put $50 or $100 at it if you can.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't do that right now, then don't be afraid to save that money, knowing that you could throw it away in 2 years and maybe it becomes 1,000 or well more than that uh, going forward. Because I like
Yep.
the
Yep.
only amount of actual like fungible cash I've put into crypto is about $4,500.
Nice.
in real money. And output has been well over, $100,000, $200,000 worth of cash that I've been
Hell
able
yeah.
to send to the bank, not counting like what's still around. Even
Yeah.
bear bull market doesn't fucking matter. Like that's been the out for me. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
you just have to understand fundamentals of something and then look at what they have going for them, and can I risk this and throw this money away? If it means nothing, send it to zero for me, then just put the money in there and enjoy, whatever end product you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of just to your point too, like how I often mention that the games are the elephant in the room of the economy at large, because how everyone talks about the movie industry as being like a big fish in the entertainment stuff, but like how movie industry takes months sometimes to make hundreds of millions of dollars, while Call of Duty comes out, bam, $1 billion week. um, and
Sure.
then they
Yeah.
make $1 billion over the year from all the skins, and so it is a cash well, and so like yeah, it does make sense to things that are trying to tokenize this into the future. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to venture. Um,
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at a studio too, like a really well-oiled machine studio, because you mentioned Call of Duty, I want to like highlight this because I come from a games journalism industry. Uh, Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare 2 was produced over a 6-year period. A 4-year period of primary cycle, where they had determined that the engine that they were using is or is not compatible with the next generation of whatever they want to publish it on. Because a game to, if they say, I'm going to release a PS5, you go like, okay, I need to rebuild this game and make sure that it's compatible with PS5.
mhm, mhm.
Um, so when you look at any kind of game that comes out in blockchain and they say like, I've got a 6-year roadmap or a 10-year roadmap, you go like, okay, that's kind of standard, right? But most people who are in this space don't understand that because the industry itself hasn't matured to a period where you can even see that as normal. The industry, I mean, how long has Bitcoin been around? 13
Mhm,
years,
mhm.
14 years, whatever it may be. So when you see the industry, these cash cows like gaming coming into cryptocurrency, you have to understand that like these new games, new groups like the Sandbox game, which is still new, uh, is going to take a long time to develop a really high quality product. So I think you see whatever it may be when you see an idea, you have to go, will I like this idea in 5 years? And if you do, then there's no reason not to buy it, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I think that like Animoca actually does a good job of hunting out these games that are fun looking or fun playing for the most part. And like how we were talking about Star Atlas as one of the partners, and then there's also Phantom Galaxies. And I have to say, Phantom Galaxies is probably one of the best space shooters in general that's came out in the past like handful of years. Um,
Mm.
and so that it impressed me. Like I was just kind of like, wow, I would play this on Steam, man. This is freaking cool. And so you have these other games like this, and I think that how we talked about the interoperability is going to be a huge part of it going forward. And because you could see how the Star Atlas is crossing over Phantom Galaxies crosses into Sandbox 2, and so this has become more and more common. But I figured I might as well just tell us what our next prize is. We're going up in value a little bit here for the Helldozer, um, made by our one and only Maxi Mac in the chat right now. This is impressive texturing. I mean, look at this thing. Look at that thing. Look at that modeling. It's got 6 luck on it, so make it a good boss to kind of actually find your enemy to hit them. Because as we know, that's not always an easy feat in Game Maker because the detection range is only like three blocks wide. So, but
Sure.
this is what we're gonna do, and that's one of the things that we do talk about on the stream a lot is like the inherent value in the little items. Like, hey, this you actually can make this as like a good level 2 boss because it will actually chase you pretty far as opposed to like uncatalyzed things like that.
Mhm.
All right, I think we do have all of our racers. So let's go ahead and get Haunted Hills rolling here, and it's just easy to get caught up in conversation. And this map it's pretty treacherous at the beginning. You got angry marble spirits who try to whisk you off and to join the ghosts. in the house, and
So
sometimes
you're saying is blue tulip wins or else?
Yeah, pretty much. So let's see. See how the marble spirits are today. Little Legion.
Little Legion's not allowed to be in front again. This is BS. This is BS right there. I'm seeing it on the screen. I'm seeing
rigged.
it. I don't like it.
I did put in Little Legion win command, so maybe.
Yep, there it is.
That might have done
You
it.
heard it here first.
Oh no! But the angry marble spirit said not this race, Little Legion. And there he goes.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Get the freak out of here.
Yeah.
You got blue shield, Little Legion.
Got Vox Machina now out in front. Then we're gonna. Okay. I am Bengali. You got snatched by the angry marble spirit. You did get rugged by the ghost, I guess. That's a fair enough statement. Just like the Sandbox, right, Joseph? A slow rug pull by cultists.
Rug, I guess, you know.
By cultists, right? That was the other comment I've heard. It's all like a little buddy inside cult thing. It's like, dude, no,
I literally
have
no idea. Like I said, I ignore the FUD and just focus on the fundamentals. Focus on building a good future for the Sandbox game. I try very, very hard. When I see somebody who's like, you fucking suck, I'm like, all right, tell me how. And if they can't, it's over. End the conversation.
Pretty much. I just read it and then make fun of it on stream. That's pretty much what I do. Because like I said, because I'm making proverbial happy little fucking trees here, right? Like most of the time on Vox Edit. So there has to be something else. And so that's why I'll say you'll hear me cuss more online than I will in person probably, because it's way more fucking entertaining. Entertainment factor is a big thing in streams after all. Yeah.
You ever just win? No, I guess not. Damn it. I was in
this
first
close.
For a minute and one box just smashed me out of the win. Oh my god.
This is close.
Oh, there it is.
One box.
See you later, nerd.
Did I win? No. You actually came in fourth.
One box.
One box edged you out at the last moment there. Getting that helldozer. Yeah, definitely some GG there though. That was a close one. That was a very close match there.
I'm mad about it. Did you see Shakespeare like literally blowing on the marbles? He was like, no, Joe can't win.
Go.
Stop it.
Alright, we're going into our final race before the Grand Prix here, which is Few Will Survive.
We going in now. I feel like I'm in top contention. Oh, I can't type play because I'm,
it's super late for you, yeah.
I type play this time. Somebody grammar check me on that PLSY right now.
No, but it's true. I mean, everyone kind of like pokes fun at that, but it's amazing how those slip through. Even sometimes we have multiple eyes on your spellings and shit. It's like, how the fuck did we miss that?
So easy. It's so easy to do. I do it all the time. The only reason why it works is because you have somebody else look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like everybody has to just go like, hey, can you look at this? Okay. Or just type it in Word first or whatever you use. Google Docs or something. Like you never can type it for yourself. When I type !play, I have to make sure that I type !play in Google Docs, so I'm not ending up like Ekion Art right now, who did exactly what I did earlier and freak it up.
Well, at least it's not the exact same message, so you should be okayed. But or the other thing, like you have all of your stuff, but you forget to fucking paste it in. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking happened. Let's say on the K-verse, I forget which one of the K-verse experiences right now, but it's like your cool experience description right here, and I'm like, I'm surely they have a description. They just forgot to paste it in.
Yep.
Like,
that's what QA is all about, baby.
Yeah. It happens. You have to do. It's just it's like you don't want to do it on your own because you get focused. The brain kind of changes things to like it's already there and it's not. You You do have to, and that's kind of what I mentioned. Even in the creator fund, we have our team leader who goes over something, and then we have the other the secondary review that does that, because even sometimes, like the lead might miss something. You know what I mean? And they're very thorough. You know. Well,
that's fine. With the council, we do it with like 4 people. We never just have like 1 or 2 people review a thing. We do it with a shit ton of people to make sure that like we go through things, because we all go through things in different ways, you know? It's just crazy.
Absolutely. That's one of the things, and that's one of the things I do try to share on stream while making stuff is like, hey, this is stuff I've picked up. Like, hey, they found Z fighting by zooming way out. Like I didn't see it like at almost normal engagement range at all. But then when it was zoomed way out, you can see, oh, there it is, and then you have to go and do it. And so it's like, these things you kind of pick up over time. And then I've been joking with Vox Machina, fresh into the Creator Fund, telling them like, hey, keep this motto in mind. Ready? It's less faces, less texture, more tokens. That's the Creator Fund right there. So because it's kind of like you don't want photorealistic textures, because that's not the Sandbox style. The Sandbox style is a specific thing. And then you want the less faces because it has to be as most efficient as possible, is what it also gets appreciated. You know what I mean? And this is just good practices in general, I've found too, because like there was things like how I mentioned, like a good example is like a ladder, how you can make ladder out of like say 2 voxel assets and just duplicating those 2 voxel assets. And you're like, oh, it's only 2 voxel assets, but you should just make that ladder 1 piece, because then it's just 1 asset. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's huge. That's like super smart too, to think about it like that, to just make it it's efficiency, it's understanding the engine instead of just like making something pretty, right? Like sometimes you can make things pretty and that's great and it sells, but at the same time it needs to work. And so if you can find the marriage between working and being pretty, you got it all.
So and yeah, just before I forget too, we're playing for another Thunderbird here. So this is for this race for Thunderbird, and then we'll do the Grand Prix winner is going to be for the Yellow Lambro. So like we've heard it on Blaze streams, like they're not going to do that again. They're like, no, those cars were too tremendous of an undertaking. These are the first Lamborghini-like replicas that were minted too, so it's kind of a fun one, you know.
Lambro, that's crazy. That's crazy. I'm excited. Let's go.
All right, and we got even more racers this time, so that's kind of fun. So we have more of our friends joining us. I know that as we get more into the wee hours, people start waking up, and we're going like the length of a DJ stream this time, man. We're just like keeping it going. Do you play meta DJ too, Joseph? Like, do you have multiple DJs from Twitch going, then up and down them?
Not at all.
Oh, really?
At all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
I thought you might do that. I highly recommend doing it. Like, if you have a couple of Twitch DJs, favorite Twitch DJs, you can have them and just kind of do your own manual up and down depending on which vibe you're digging at the time, you know? Ian, the IT guy. I'm going to call him the IT guy. That's it. The IT guy.
I ain't the IT guy. Wait. I am Ian the IT guy? Damn.
But you are out front right now.
I guess I'll just win, though. What the fuck? How did I skip that whole zone, bro? And I'm dead, right?
No. Oh my god, you're gonna win!
Fuck it, I'm just gonna win.
You missed.
Real quick.
You missed.
What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Oh
no,
my god,
you just went over.
Get out of here! I was on fire! That was the fastest I've ever gone in my fucking life, bro. Holy shit. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen, bro. Nobody's landed. Okay, Carrotros
ended up doing it. Carrotros is abducted again. Carrotros
that
gets
was the fastest shit I've ever seen in marbles. Holy shit.
Gets
I was
a
like,
Thunderbird.
Fuck that gate. I'm out. See you later. I'm going to jump off the cliff. All right. Forget about it. I
didn't realize the basket moves on this one, too.
Oh, does Carrotros get the record as well?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see if it was the fastest one. Oh, no, it would tell us. It would say fast record here. But still, pretty glorious win.
Ooh.
So, 64 points, 45 blue tulip.
Gosh.
Short
I got
club.
all kind of hype on that one, dude.
That was
Me?
fast, man. Oh, that would have definitely been a record if you would have nailed that. It
I
just
think I
missed.
get. No, wait. Can you scroll to the bottom before you skip real quick?
Yeah. No problem.
Because I want to know something real quick. This is important to me personally.
Okay, no problem.
I got the worst possible DNF because I DNF'd first.
You did.
Fuck
Yes.
this game.
Well, that was our last race, so.
Imagine being as far as humanly possible in the race, like definitely gonna win, and the game's like, you're bad because you died first. Because you were so good, you speed past everybody and failed.
Yep, that'll learn you.
Rigged.
Rigged.
First at being last is total him. I'm mad about it. I'm mad about this game, bro.
It's like flips the desk. This is bullshit.
It right now. I should have been where Philippe Light was, right there at 8th place. This is some bullshit. All right, show me these results.
All right,
let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do the result. Who's getting the Lambro today?
I'm so mad right now.
Okay, here we go.
The
Number
winners
3
are
is
damn sure not
oops,
me.
I accidentally did a second. Okay, second was you. You got second. Right? Radcon Dad was third.
Second.
Yeah, I accidentally did 2 clicks there. Sorry about that. We'll see. But you're second. Let's see who first is. Little Legion Org gets the
Little Legion. Okay. All right. Okay. I can respect that.
It's like,
Legion, the best average score. Saying that it was rigged for Little Legion. I don't know about all that. I saw your marble. Your marble was not flying off the map instantaneously in the last race. What the fuck?
That probably would have put you ahead. Yeah.
All I had to do was survive.
Yeah.
And Marvel was like, "Nah, dude, I'm gonna fly the fuck out of here. I'm done with this."
Well, as I said, we like glorious dismounts, as we call them sometimes. And that was a glorious dismount.
Look, I appreciate it.
That was. But look at those points, actually.
Wait, whoa, what the fuck?
Look at the points.
Wait, rigged? Blue Tulip doesn't get third?
Well, it's tied.
Points?
Tied.
No wins, I guess. But, jeez, man. Blue Tulip on it.
Yeah, tied with Radcon Dad. You had 2 points more than Conrad there. But yeah, Little Legion definitely had a pretty sizable winner lead there. So,
BS.
This is bullshit. Fuck this thing. Oh man. But yeah, no, we actually made a little more than a half hour over than what we had planned here. So thank you, Joseph, for sticking it out and chatting with us here. And we'll call it a day because I don't want to keep you any longer. And
thank you. I appreciate that. It's 5:38 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy shit, I'm so tired right now.
Yeah,
but it was fun. It was a really, really, really good time. Had some fun playing Marvels, talking about the general, cryptoverse and the Sandbox game, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, everyone values your time and everyone appreciates your effort here. Like I said, we don't have any trolls. And definitely, like I said, it's definitely been a pleasure and honor to be able to have you hang out with us here. Our normal weird time, quote unquote,
Hey, look at all the chat. Chat's so nice. You guys are nice.
No.
You guys are the good people, by the way. Real talk. I'm not saying an unfamiliar name in the chat that isn't just a good human. So thanks for being nice in the times when everybody says that I suck and I should die.
Wow.
Real talk. So many times I got DMs that was like, "Fuck you, you're the worst," and I'm like, I'm just trying to build the metaverse out here, okay? So I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no, it's true. We really do appreciate it, and yes, like, I'm sure that if any sincere harm would come your way, there'd be plenty who would help come to your aid.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Not too concerned about that.
And yeah, like I said, you definitely don't want to go after my JoJo. I'll fuck you up, okay? I'll do some crazy Freddy Krueger shit.
Less than 5 minutes away from me, so I know I
Dude,
got some defense.
oh man, you know it's kind of okay. Maddox, right? Maddox, okay, because Maddox, his background, he has some. You could say because of work hazards, he's had to size up people, right? And I kind of told him like, dude, what do you think about like Conrad? And I'm like, and he's kind of, what do you think? I'm all, dude, I think Conrad would go off like a fucking buzzsaw, and he wouldn't
I can
stop.
attest to that.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
100%. 100%. If you tried to fuck with Conrad, I think you might end up in a hospital.
Yeah,
Just
it
saying.
would, you just, yeah, you don't, I mean,
But
I know he's not the biggest dude, but it doesn't matter. He's gonna climb on you or some shit, fucking beat the
no.
back of your
Yeah.
skull.
No, I think climbing you is very nice. I think that's very nice.
You kind of tell, I'm just saying. And Joe's no put, Joseph here's no pushover, man. He'll fucking right cross you, dude. I know. You know?
Yeah. No. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's very funny. That's a good conclusion for sure.
Yeah. It is. It's great. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good way to end the show, I think. Yeah. We're gonna punch you.
For sure. For sure. I'll fuck you up. That's it. End of show. I'll fuck you. I'll fuck you up. See you later. Bye. It's a good thing that all these humans in this chat are nice people and good community members. All right.
Damn
but if
right.
anybody tries to like punch one of y'all in the face in the middle of a conference, that other person who might try to punch you in the face will hit the floor because I will not tolerate.
Thank you for the cheers. We can always appreciate it. Oh man, all right. Yeah, we probably better end it, dude, or else it's gonna be like 12.
12?
Oh, I think we're gonna have to figure out another time. We'll have to have a chat. Maybe we'll have to do it so early. We could do a special time or something. You know what I mean? Because I know it's cool that we get on right now because now it's evening Asia. You know, at midday.
Not bad on a weekend. I don't even mind.
Okay.
Like on a weekend, it's fine. But on like a weekday, this was wild. You were like, "Hey, can I get you at 3 a.m.?" And I was like, my show, nope." Like I got calls, I got meetings, there's no way. But yeah, this is great. This is fantastic. I appreciate being able to hang out with you at this hour when I can just kind of let loose. It's nice too because you can get the real me with and I can still censor and be like, well, I'm under NDA for that, so I guess I can't talk about that. It was good.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Yeah, we definitely enjoyed. Everyone, I'm sure, enjoyed this, and I know I sure as fuck did. And I said we'll have to do it again. And yeah, and this is a pretty good time for me too because like usually there's other streamers during the weekday, and so on weekends usually there's no one right now too. So it worked out pretty good.
Cool.
No. But all right, everyone, thanks for hanging out with us today. I'm not sure, is there anyone live that we can raid? Is Pineapple is doing some kind of experiment, so maybe we'll just raid there. You don't have to stay because I think he's doing kind of like a some kind of player controlled experiment or something. So we'll raid over there, just bombard his chat, say, hey, we're here after hanging out with Joseph, saying fuck a bunch. It was great.
I didn't say it that much. I could have said it more for sure.
Well, I did. I know. I tried to. Yeah, I try to hold that side up. It's part of the teamwork, Gotta go back and forth with that. Yeah. So.
There it is.
All right, everyone. Thanks once again for hanging out, and thank you, Joseph, once again. Very much a pleasure and honor. And like I said, look forward to the next time things synchronize.
All right.
All right, everyone. We're gonna head over to Pineapple now. Thanks again. I might not be live tomorrow. I'll put a tweet out about that. We'll see what happens, but if not, for sure I'll be back on Monday. But all right, everyone. Bye for now. See you later. Time to Pineapple pen a poodle pen for a bit. All right. Thank you. Okay, we should